What up, what up, what up, everybody? Peace, 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 people. It's been a long, dreary road trying to partake in helping out my Black community, the indigenous American Blacks. People like to call themselves these days on YouTube and Twitter and other places FBA. Some say ADOS. Some like to call themselves Black Indians and maybe other names I can't think on right now. But I've been on YouTube since 2018, and I came because I saw a lot of stuff potentially gonna harm the psyche, the mentality, the spirit, the morale of Black Americans. I saw it mainly on YouTube, primarily in the spaces of Pan-Africans and Africans speaking about what we're to do. They always talk in terms of what Black Americans are supposed to do for Africa. And a lot of their talking points were authoritarian, were forceful, were assuming without our consent, approval, or thought process of whether or not we were even Pan-African to begin with. And this made me feel like I needed to start up a channel to reveal stuff that I discern. And I found a lot of people with me speaking about Dr. Ericana from the beginning. I was the first, for those that are confused. I was the first to bring out to our community about her firing at the African Union as the ambassador. I came out with that back in 2019. And a lot of people were quick to claim that I was a hater of Africans. I was a liar. I was lost, crazy, all kinds of things. And people just pretty much put me in a category on my own. And, it became apparent that YouTube is very cliquish. It's very subject to be cliquish and cultish. And I've never been the type to follow behind everything that everybody says. I might pick on one or two things, but overall, I keep my own belief and thoughts about what I feel overall to myself, and I don't let people kick me off my square. So it was very obvious that if you are not popular, if you're not well known, if you're not received as somebody, you would be ostracized or treated like you don't belong, you don't have nothing to add or anything like that. So I found it very, very hard to really reveal my discernment about various things. She wasn't the only one that I revealed discerning things about. I also revealed the scammer Lou Major before he scammed. I revealed Dr. Mambe before she scammed. I revealed Aphrodamus, who wants to be a scammer, before he had a chance, and other things I'm sure throughout my time on YouTube. But it was not appreciated because for some reason, a lot of us rather run to the fire, run to the crash, and get burnt. I don't know what it is. We have to be proven wrong first. Like the Bible speaks about, in the end times, there will be people that's able to discern stuff, prophecy, have abilities from God. And these are the times, and I believe that God has given me discernment to talk about the scams of Pan-Africanism and also the danger of why Pan-Africanism is so detrimental to Black Americans, because I like I expressed in various videos, it erases our identity. It takes away our voice to represent ourselves here in America as a core group of people with our own lineage and our own identity. I've been talking about this. Sometimes seemed like I was talking alone and not received and disrespected, but I kept pushing because I knew, as I know, when you discern, you just know. You don't understand how you know. You just know, And you guys won't get that unless you have some connection with God and you have like this unspoken relationship with the Most High. But anyways, I wanted to kind of follow up about Dr. Ericana because she did a response video recently. And I also wanted to talk about other things that perplexed me and why it took so long for people to relate with me and understanding that she is a fraudster, she is a predator. I have likened her to an enemy of us because she is. And, for some reason, there's going to be this back and forth about people running around trying to protect her image. For some strange reason, people have erected this woman on a pedestal and they have worshiped her and they have said that she is honorable, she is pristine, she is all these attributes of God and righteousness and everything, without any proof that she is that, other than her being a doctor, a medical doctor, 25 years. There's nothing of her to state that she is of God and she's righteous other than what she says and other people say about her. Let me see who's here before I go. Malik the Demon. Wow, what a name. What's up, Laura? Thank you for being here. I appreciate all of you. I greatly appreciate it. This will be the video to really wrap up talking about Ericana, Dr. Ericana, because I know now that this information now is reaching so many different peoples that I couldn't reach before because of the influence of O'Shea Duke Jackson and because of the influence of Go Black to Africa. They never said anything about Americana up until a week or so ago. And they got so much traction so quickly. I know that only one person out of the whole entire YouTube has ever given me an opportunity to share what I know or knew about Americana, and that was Mouthy Megan about 3 years ago when we discussed the Wakanda city that never came back in 2021 when Americana was running that scam, talking about building a Wakanda city in Ghana back in 2021. And it just seemed like anything that I said, I was speaking to thin air. It was just pretty ridiculous. But sometimes I think our people are just really stubborn and hard ass to where they have to fall and really get a bruising before they believe something. And that is the tragedy of having discernment, because you're supposed to avoid the traps that are set. If you're able to discern stuff, you're supposed to be able to reach out and warn people and say, hey, this person is about to do this, that, and the third. And you're supposed to know and avoid them so that you're not taking advantage of, and you're not taken for a ride or used as a fool and used and abused and spat out and really treated unkind and unworthy. But like I said, I was not given the opportunity to be supported in the ways in which I should. And I understand that I'm not the great talker, gift of gab, typically people that are introverted, such as I, that can see things. We talk about stuff that hasn't fully materialized all the way, but there are signs and clues to alert us, to let us know why we are discerning what we're discerning. And so therefore it's not appreciated. And that is the saddest part of the story. But I want to now get to, before I get going, there was a reply before I get to Americana with someone that spoke to Americana and what she had did, because of course she's going around saying that people are lying on her. And, she's not showing any receipts though. There aren't any receipts that she's dropping as of yet that I have seen. She just is speaking as if her words are the receipts. And that's why a lot of people are going to continue to be fooled by her if they allow her foolery and her lies to continue. But I remember seeing Dr. Americana maybe 5-6 years ago on Pan African Daily TV. She was interviewed talking about the ADDI. And this is the same channel that happened to have a guy speak up about Americana. And he kind of really broke down a little bit better than what was discussed on Go Black to Africa. So I wanted to play a little bit of what he had to say. Again, this is not about defaming or scandalizing anyone's name. It's about revealing the truths that we ought to know as Black Americans. As I've said many times, we are the least protected people around the globe. People know that we are not protected by the government. We're not protected by the men of our community. A lot of times we're not protected or looked upon by the women because they're following silly men such as Umar Johnson. And so we are kind of like held hostage to take on predators and treat them as if they're our heroes. And that is the stupidity of our community, that we put the predators above us. We glorify them. We put their names in gold, and we suffer miserably. We can tell if you look at the fruit of the people that are speaking to us, like Umar Johnson. They say the fruit is supposed to bear fruit. What people are claiming to do, the work, and you should see proof of fruit to verify that these people are what they say they are. And time again, you have people that just tell us and sell us a story, and they bear no fruit whatsoever for many, many, many years. And they keep revamping the lie, retelling the stories, and keeping us blinded and stupid and following them behind them like sheep. And I just pray that God would lift, us up to the ability to not be fooled any longer by predator people of our community, whether it's from the Pan-African community or the Black community itself, because we have predators in both camps. And people don't want to speak out about these types of people unless other people are on the bandwagon first. And that's what makes our community at a standstill. It makes us crippled. It makes us in trouble, because we got to wait for other people to approve. We got to let it become more of a clique. We have to let it become more of a cult to be received overall, the messaging. And that's why we are so behind in what we should be at right now, in my opinion. But I'm going to say fair use of all videos that I show under the Copyright Act of 1976 for education, observation, entertainment, all the above, not meaning to impose or to infringe, but to inform, enlighten, and also to give confirmation and about what I've been saying and what I've been knowing for a long time. And like I said, I felt like many a times that I was like in a desert with the lights shut off, looking for a light to turn on so people can see what the fuck is going on around. What's up, African Goddess? Thank you for being here. You said she has successfully argued that there is a smear campaign against her. Yes, I know. I know she has. And there's going to be a whole lot of people coming out the woodworks fighting for her to be relevant. They're going to be attacking us most of all, more and more and more. And again, I've been talking about her, I feel, long enough. I don't feel like it's my turn to continue this battle about Ericana, because I've been talking about her for too long. I think that the people that can move the crowd should take on the speak out against her, because she's not going to let up. She's not going to give in. She's definitely going to call herself revitalizing her scam and coming at us yet again. So before I go, let me find this video first. Again, this is Pan-African Daily TV. There is a guy that was on here that knew of the Burkina Faso citizenship scandal, scam, and he is going to talk about the lack of accountability, which is what we got going on in the Black community. That's why there's so many people that's able to just come in through the thickness of the night and springboard into different scams and lies to tell us without anyone checking them at the door. No one checks anyone at the door and have any requirements, any standards, any nothing. So people just waltz in and say their script and bullshit of lies and get people hooked, line and sinker to whatever it is that they're trying to get them to go do. And unfortunately, we have too many men that just don't have the gift of discernment or the balls to speak out before a crowd of people approve of you to do so. Men are supposed to be able to stand on their own feet without approval or validation if they're walking in righteousness, just like we as women are to do so as well. So here is a guy who is going to speak out about what happened, and then we're going to go look and listen to what Ericana had to say after, because she did a live, again, accusatory about people that called her out, and she thinks that her word is gold, and it is not.
To be able, to explain the situation, to actually give us facts on what happened. But what we tried to do on Pan-African Daily, as I told you last week, was to reach out to the organization of ADDI, and up till now, we are still waiting their response to also hear their part of the story. Okay, so I'm happy that you're connected, and I'll just bring Brother Jason live on the show. Thank you so very much, Ruben. I'm also proud of you. This is what we are supposed to do, okay? Thank you. I know some of you that are watching me from Facebook page and from YouTube, like I said, this is our internal conversation, like trying to hold ourselves responsibility. And when I heard not only Brother Jason and many others that were involved or that were some kind of feeling not comfortable with the situation, the way it's been handled from what was promised or from the information that was being given out here, I felt actually involved, being a leader and being in this place and being a peacemaker and also a convener and a mediator for us to find and seek a lasting solution and also to learn a lot from it. But I want to tell you, this group that is coming up and others that are doing the work of due diligence, I want to applaud you. I want to congratulate you, because that's how we're going to build the Africa we want, holding each other accountable. All right. Of course, we should actually give credit to this group for coming up with such an initiative, because what I want to say here after the conversation is we need ratings. We need really ratings, and we need people that will do the work of rating our organizations so that they can actually be put in the market, as this is a secure platform.
I believe that research should have happened day one. Whenever someone comes to our community to talk about anything, that their past, their titles, any controversies or any scandals or firings or anything known should have been made known before she was picked up and supported and pushed. She was on the African Diaspora channel. I heard Search of Uru talk about her. I've heard other platforms that I don't remember their name, but they were constantly bringing up videos of her giving speeches, old speeches when she talked about France and when she was the African Union ambassador. They just kept replaying her speeches. Even today, you'll see older speeches brought up recently, and they're keeping it going to try to give this imagery that this woman is someone that is reverable, someone that is honest and true and righteous. And a lot of Africans are sold that she is the advocate for Pan-Africanism, and that, whether or not you want to be under her guidance, that somehow we're to get ourselves together mentally and somehow look to her for her to lead us somewhere. And she has not been given any checks on her to give that type of responsibility over to. She should have been at the door checked. And I did the checking. I saw this woman when she was the ambassador back in 2018. I heard her give her speech and she rubbed me the wrong way. I said, let me follow this woman to see what the hell is going on with her, because there's something not right with her. But let's get now to this. I'm going to fast forward it a little bit and let this guy express what had happened.
Half of brothers and sisters all over the diaspora who were involved in this situation. At the minimum, 1,200 people were impacted by this. 1,200 people who spent a minimum of $365 and then $500. But before I get into that, I want to address a couple of things, because I want to make sure that I specifically speak to ADDI. Dr. Africana is an elder. So in my culture, I don't disrespect elders. So I'm not going to demean her, and I'm not going to call her out of her name. I am going to simply say we are asking for transparency and we're asking for honesty. I want to make sure we clarify. I'm not going to disrespect her because she is an elder. But asking someone for accountability, asking them to be transparent, asking them to be honest is not by any means disrespectful. And it should not be looked at that way. It should not be hiding behind your age. It should not be something we do. I want to also address that there have been multiple accusations being thrown out, labeling us as ops, CIA, people who have asked for these accountability, where it's been a lot of name calling. And these are on recorded conversations, Zooms, where we've been labeled as basically trying to take her down, sent by governments to take her under. This is a tactic used to manipulate people who are psychologically inferior. To say that I am a CIA operative without any proof, which I am not, to say that people aren't just genuinely upset that they feel they were lied to, and we came to you and asked you as our elder to speak to us, not down to us, but to speak to us and say, this is what happened, and to show the proof. For all those listening, we have asked for nothing more than for you to show the proof. There were many, this has been going on since January, there have been members who actually gained access and joined ADDI based on the promise made by Dr. Africana and her organization. In order to become a citizen, this was something that stated by her relationship with President Ibrahim Traore is why ADDI would be receiving citizenship.
And I personally believe that Ericana wanted to rub elbows with this Captain Traore because of his name blowing up, because of the fact that he did something that nobody else has done. I don't remember ever, as far as getting rid of a colonizer and taking control over your resources and resetting your own country from what was being terrorized and controlled and hijacked by the French. And so he did a very unique thing. Kudos to this Captain Traore. And I believe that Dr. Ericana looked at him as a way of solidifying and, making her more relevant, more believable in whatever she would say and how she was going to move, giving her more like crowns to be placed on her head. She purposely sought him out so that she could be seen with him, so that she could be speaking in his presence, so that it can give the allure that she's connected with all the greats of the African, of the continent, and what is going on good. She wanted to make it seem like she was on the side of the winner, to make herself have more power. And when she would say she wanted to do something and that she was going to do it, made her more credible just by linking up with Captain Torre. I believe one time she brought about 150 people to Burkina Faso. I talked about it back when. Actually, you guys can go to my other channel. And on my other channel, it shows that I talked about Ericana at least 10 times with her picture and all, talking about her throughout the last couple of years, and prior to that, even more years. But the reason why I say that is that I was on the know of her ability to be very sneakish, very just slicky and tricky to those that did not really understand how manipulation works. And this is why I was on her so hard, because I knew that she was going to be the biggest scammer in our community that I have found to date. And I have found, like I said, Dr. Mambe scammed, Lou Major scammed, and then and Dr. Ericana. But let's get back to what he had to say. Again, this is one of the people that is talking about he believed in what Ericana told him about getting citizenship in Burkina Faso. About 1,200 people paid out of pocket $365 for membership, and then an extra $500 that was kind of fitted in out of the blue to make it an $865 amount. And if you times that, I believe she was able to get about a little bit over $1 million or so. Let me make sure. Let me check to make sure I'm looking at that right. But yeah, she wanted to get that money, $1,038,000 is what she got out of 1,200 people with the $865. Again, just rubbing elbows, being seen with the Captain Torre one time, bringing 150 people there, listening to a speech. She hurried up and jumped on this notion of Black Americans, so-called diaspora, so-called the children of the descendants of slaves needing to go home, because that's always been her go-to in trying to express why she thinks that we as Black Americans ought to want to be bothered with Africa. Oh, we need to go home. Oh, we need to go home and build. Oh, we need to go home and live over there. Oh, we need to do this. We need to do that. All these things, all these thoughts are placed, unfortunately, solely on Black Americans, and the Africans are skipped over. And I thought that that was very interesting. I'm saying, like, woman, the continental Africans are not paying Africa hardly no damn mind. They're too busy risking their lives to flee, to come over to Europe, United States, Canada, wherever they can find themselves. In fact, just recently, Al Jazeera talked about in Tunisia, there was a lot of Africans trying to, be on boats, and the Tunisian police or people were in the waters trying to prohibit the Africans from being able to even make their way to where they were trying to go, essentially trying to unalive them. So you have so many desperate, scrambling Africans that don't want to be in Africa. They would like to become us. They would like to replace us. And you know that because a lot of them to date are calling themselves African Americans, even if they know damn well they have nothing to do with the lineage of chattel slavery or anything related to the building and the identity here in America for generations. They just like to cloak themselves in our identity because they wish that they could somehow become us and we would in turn become them. And I've been warning that this is what the ultimate goal is for Pan-Africans, is to have us replaced. They don't argue with the Africans wanting to come to America or Europe or anywhere. They don't have live streams talking about them, saying that they shouldn't want to do it because it's detrimental to their life if they lose it. They don't say any of these things. They're constantly honed in on what can Black Americans do? How can we get those dollars towards tourism? How can we get those dollars towards fake citizenships or residencies or a business or land or building something or something? Everything is always concentrated solely, primarily targeting Black Americans. And I knew that it felt kind of off with not expressing these things to Africans that should be more concerned about the continent of Africa than I. But she never had any words about what continental Africans should do. She thought that she was supposed to be kind of like our regulator, kind of be like our overseer, overlord. That's how she came to me in my mind. And it was very offensive that this is what she was doing. So let's now get back to this. Let me see what you guys have to say before I go. You said apparently her first scam was done in Zimbabwe years ago. It's supposed to be something to do with land and chickens. I'm not surprised. I'm pretty sure that this woman has a whole list of different scams that she has done and tried throughout the years since she started the ADDI, I believe back in 2019. I knew as soon as she was done away with the position of the African Union ambassador, and like within a month or two, she brought up the ADDI idea that it was going to kind of like be a continuation of what she was doing while she was the ambassador to the African Union. I already saw it. It was so evident. It was so clear. And yeah, that's what it was. You said she has been on Al Jazeera and other mainstream news channels. Yeah, and that's why a lot of people reference her as being Mama Africa. I'm hearing Mama Africa. It's ridiculous. People are giving her titles, giving her accolades, making her seem like she is untouchable and her shit does not stink. And, you know, unfortunately, I'm not the type that is going to put an elder up on a pedestal to revere and respect if she's not respectable. So the guy, he may have his feelings about tiptoeing around because she's older. But I feel like if you're so dirty to get to the gutter, to be so disrespectful and a predator in our community, I'm not going to treat you like you're precious. I'm sorry. That's out the window. And that's why a lot of people may not like my approach, because I don't coddle. I'm not talking sweetly and, you know, sing song. And, I really don't know how to express in such a way that is so easy on the ears. I just say what it is. And a lot of people don't like that approach. They want to have their ears tantalized. They want to be laughing and entertained. They want to feel like they're a part of watching a movie or a scene or on a movie show or a movie. I don't do those things. I'm sorry. I'm just kind of like the person to bring you the relevant information and what I discern, in hopes to get you thinking and watching and asking questions and researching and understanding what I came to understand. And people just did not want to do that. They don't want just simple information. They want to be entertained at the same time. And that's just not my thing to do. But let's get back to what, oh, I got another one. Hey, what's up? Your favorite nurse. Thank you for coming through. You said just dropped one of my great aunts off, almost home. Okay, your great aunt. Okay. African Goddess says there is not going to be any accountability. She is good. Well, you know, all I can say is for the ones that's going to allow the lie to persist and continue, they earn whatever happens to them. That's all I know. All I know is that this woman has an ADDI database collecting people's personal information. It was rumored that she was calling people's employers since this scandal happened, with the people that were calling her out to try to get them fired. So they got their personal job information in the ADDI. They have their names and addresses, birthdays, social security number, identities, and everything else. Like I said, to me, it's very dangerous for people to have access to all your information, because later they could use it in other ways that maybe you never meant for them to use your information, but it's already been given over to them, stored up in that ADDI database. And that's what I had talked about as well. I also revealed that a while ago, maybe 5 years ago, 4 years ago, she talked about borrowing a substantial amount of money. I believe she said $500 million that was supposed to help jumpstart different projects throughout the continent, and that this was a loan given to her by a diasporan, where she never named the name of the guy, but I think I know who it was. I think it was Akon, because he was able to get credit from the Chinese of a $1 billion loan to do stuff in Senegal and other things. And right when she talked about this $500 million loan, she was seen within the week with Akon having a discussion. And I just kind of put two and two together. That's alleged. I can't say 100% that is definitely him, but in my mind, with my discernment, I'm guessing that it more than likely was money that she borrowed from Akon. This is why she started talking about the Wakanda city. And of course, we know that Akon also talked about the Akon city. So they were kind of like doing the same type of thing around the same type of time. So it kind of like led me to understand that they were in cahoots with talking about Wakanda City. They both were going to do the same thing to try to get us to support these imaginary cities and throw money at them. So yeah, that's where that came from. Okay, let me go. The next one. You said 1,020,000 is what she made from her latest scam. Okay, I thought it was 38, but yeah, you may be right. Anyways, $1 million bucks is a lot of money, African Goddess. Imagine if we used $1 million in our urban communities, in our ghettos, with different things that are going on with Trump right now. And if we would help our own people struggling with food or struggling with housing and whatnot, how that could be of help to real life situations going on here in America. Ericana never talks about blessing anyone on the ground here in America. It's all going back to an imaginary city or imaginary citizenship or imaginary project, it always seems to avoid us, skip us, and always being in the mindset that we got to do something for Africa. All right. You said, yeah, but you don't see her with Torre now. I'm pretty sure that she is going to make an appearance with him. Isn't she still supposed to see him? I'm thinking, I thought it was stated for October 26th that they still were supposed to go over there and meet up with Torre. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm definitely going to do a follow-up to see if she does, in fact, go to Burkina Faso October 26th and what will happen behind that discussion. Your favorite nurse says, I just happened to cross the border to check out some hens, and homegirl Manson is absolutely stunning from the outside. The anger consumed me knowing how she got her mansion. I don't see if it was auction. You talking about the plantation that she got there in Tennessee? She actually bought an old plantation in Tennessee and she lives in it now. I thought that was very interesting when I found that out. It very much angered me to know that she was living in a plantation, because it was kind of a mockery in my mind about what our ancestors went through. And you have somebody that might have lineage of slave trade, like having a good time knowing the suffering of our people, and they're like living over there having a good time, mocking and living it up. To me, it felt disrespectful, and I never looked at it as being like she was trying to help us by taking over that plantation. It was kind of like her flossing. That's what she was doing. You said has to be sitting on at least 10 to 12 anchors, but I emailed you to tell you some words from her neighbors. Did you? Which email did you use? Because I can't use one of my platforms any longer. The 13,000 one that I have, I kind of lost my password right now. I can't remember it, so I can't check the emails or anything over there. So you would have to actually come over to this other email, and I'll give you that information before the live is over, because I don't know it by heart right now. But yeah, or you can leave a comment after the video's over, and then I will shoot you the email then and let you know what that is. But yeah, I would like to hear the words of her neighbors. I would really like to hear that. What's up, Pinky? I'm so glad to see you. I miss all of y'all. I really do. Your favorite nurse says she did what? See what kind of crap is triggering, because a lot of them get us fired from jobs. There was somebody, I believe, in Kiki Loves Nigeria chat room that had made mention that calls were made to employers with the people that were complaining, and that they were attempting to get them fired. That's what was said. I don't know how factual that is, but all the information is right there for them to toy around with you if they wanted to, because you gave up everything. You gave up all your information to strangers. Your favorite nurse says, oh yeah, great to see everybody. I miss seeing y'all. You said she is probably already using it. You never know. I think about identity theft. I think about people getting stuff in your name, possibly attaching you to this $500 million bond that she talked about years ago that she borrowed, with you affiliating with this ADDI, inputting your information into the database, and everything that she is attaching to it, your name is attached to it as well. This is what I warned about. I said, don't touch that ADDI database. Do not give away your information, because I believe she's going to try to use that for other things that you would not want her to do or give consent to do. That's my opinion. You said, yes, I believe she borrowed it from Akon. I really do. I wish that I could find the video of her when she was sitting down with Akon, and Akon had his wife there, and they were talking about joining forces. And, you know, it was right around the time she had just made mention getting this money through a bond, that it was a loan. And she claimed that all we needed to do as the diaspora was to raise $1 million towards this bond, and that Ghana, with all their resources, could pay for the rest of the loan. And I knew that that was bullshit. I knew that that was bullshit. So all you want is $1 million from the diaspora, and then everything else is all taken care of with the gold and the cobalt or the coconut or whatever revenue resources that are in the ground. We're supposed to easily cover all the other expenses related to that bond. I knew it was not the truth, and I did tell that information as she told it on my last channel that's not around anymore. But I'm just letting y'all know she's been devious, sneaky, lurking, and trying very hard to do a lot involving us. Okay, good to see you two ladies. All right. And Pinky also says, let our people keep giving her the money and thinking they're getting reparations. Stupid people. I don't understand it, Pinky. I've never knew in all my life that a lot of us that would be this vulnerable. I never understood people to just let their guards down, their thinking caps down, and not ask questions, not test the spirit. Nothing. They just say, oh, she speaks well, she dressed well, she has that mama Africa vibration to her. She seems to be passionate about what she says. She seems to be very real in what she's saying. And like I said before, you can do two things at the same time. You could be passionate in what you're saying, truthful about what you say, and at the same time underhandedly do slicky, shisty, diabolical stuff that we don't know of or cannot even imagine, and still show a smile and give a speech at the same damn time. This is what good manipulators are able to do. They're able to talk and entertain and basically, what do you call it, bedazzle you by their words, by their speech, by their presence, whatever it is that you have decided in your heart that these people are somebody bigger than what they are. A lot of us are painting a narrative or a picture of them being like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Frederick Douglass, and they're not. They have not been a part of our plight. They have not been a part of our struggle. They don't care about our outcomes. They don't care if we survive tomorrow. All they care about is what they can get from us and how fast can they get it. That's the truth. Okay. African Goddess says, Akon is another dodgy person. His wife of 29 years divorcing him is having difficulties, problems getting access to money. All his access are in his mother's name. Yeah. And Akon really thought, because he was well known in the community, that somehow he had influence on us. And he learned the hard way that he did not have influence on us at all, because we did not really in large number contribute to the the Akon city. I think Go Black to Africa had made mention that he did, but primarily nobody that I know of gave money towards that Akon city, and so it went to hell in a handbasket. All right, you said, I think it was this email to this page. Oh, did you really? I got to check it. Was it recently? Pinky says she is being disrespectful. That's what most immigrants do when they get here. Yeah, she definitely talks down to us, which is another reason why I didn't like her. She act like she is superior over us. She act like, again, like she is like our overlord. And she talks like that. Your favorite nurse says it's in Georgia, rural, about 20 minutes from the city. Okay. And your favorite nurse says they may be using the Social Security information to give to these fake nurses that keeps getting busted. Something's going on. A number of stuff could be going on. There are dozens upon dozens of networks of African scammers doing the most with fraudulent identities, insurance fraud. There was a story of a housewife, a Nigerian housewife, and her husband faked a burglary recently, and they got busted. They do a lot of different scams. I believe that a lot of scam culture is a part of the African culture. Not all are scammers, but a great many happen to be on that track of thought. They happen to be on that track of thought. All right, let me see. All right, Pinky says our people better start looking out for themselves. Only get them fired before they come for you. Okay. Pinky says, I think a lot of our people are afraid to not follow a leader. We are having a problem with people following a correct leader that actually has good intention for us as a people. You know, I really feel that the delineation movement is very necessary. I've been saying for the longest time, we have to get away from other groups of melanated people to find our own voice, to let it be known that we are not what people are attaching ourselves to say we're saying, or that we want. I mean, there are always stories out here saying, for instance, that we want to go back to Africa. They just put African American on a story, on an article, on our YouTube channel. And they just do this propaganda bullshit where they constantly are saying what they're claiming we're saying without that being the truth, because they have an agenda to control the narrative of what it is we want to be about. And so I'm so glad that a lot of us are saying, hell no, I don't want to go to Africa. Hell no, I don't want a citizenship in Africa. Hell no, I'm not trying to build Africa. I am an American. I care about what's going on here in America. My identity is my identity, separate from yours. If that's what you want to go do, Pan-African, go ahead and go do it. If you are a leader of Pan-Africans, perhaps you should look specifically for Pan-Africans to lead. But the problem is they only see us as the potential people with the money to do what they say to do, because they're not arguing with other immigrants. They're not arguing with continental Africans about building up Africa. They're not trying to pull money from them. they're directing their energies solely on Black Americans because we are the marked individuals, the targeted individuals, the people that have been left astray for so long, the people that have not had a real male leader since the 60s. And everybody knows that we are very vulnerable right now. And this is why I decided to speak up, even though I'm not really the type to really speak, because I could not just let people speak for me on things that I would never want to have my consent on. And this is why I started doing videos and revealing stuff so that people could understand how easy it is for someone to pick up a microphone and declare themselves our voice. That's literally what Dr. Eric Kana had claimed 4 or 5 years ago. I chose myself to be the voice for the diaspora. Technically, we're not part of the diaspora. We're not from a homeland in Africa as the indigenous American Blacks, the ones that do not have immigrant backgrounds, but yet they want to recraft what the diaspora means, and they want to put us in the front line as being the diaspora because of this notion of having $1.3 trillion spending power. And they have fantasized and imagined what they could do with that money in their hands. And this is why people are coming for us. All right, you said, your favorite nurse says, Pinky Wells, a lot of foreigners have been working for EEOC with many complaints about them. An inquiry has been launched. If you know anyone that went to file EEOC paperwork against them, let them. I heard that. Let them know. Pinky says, I just noticed you changed your name. And all right. And you said that you were getting closer to Yah to ease my triggers. These folks trigger me since what happened in Maine. I don't even go on Ron Page like that anymore. Too triggering. Yeah, you gotta keep your peace about yourself. Definitely. I find myself sometimes getting really frustrated because I think that, a lot of us should be able to speak out more and not wait for other people to carry the weight of what is going on around us. And there seems to be a lot of people that are still unsure of what to do. They're scared or they don't want to be called out. So they're playing it safe and they're just in the chat rooms or whatever. But I'm trying to encourage others, if you have a voice and if you know information, to share, whether you be on a panel talking about it, whether you send emails or videos to showcase what you're talking about. We just have to get on one accord and help one another. That is the issue. It should be a team play of a game that we work with one another. It can't just be one or two people here and there sometimes, and then they fall off. They straddle the fence. Just think about African diaspora. He says he's an FBA, but he still thinks he can be a Pan-African. And I don't think you can. I think that the movement of delineation needs to be finalized. We need to get our barons together. We need to know who we are and what we're to do collectively among ourselves without including others into that. Because that's when all the confusion comes in, because they're trying to tell us how can we fit in. And it's like we haven't even gathered ourselves together, to figure out what we want to do for ourselves yet. And it's just very weird. You said, that's what confuses me on other ethnic groups. Deal with this. Shaking my head, your favorite nurse says. Pinky says, I won't be going over there again. He and another YouTuber I've been watching 5 years, BSIA, are having a back and forth. The other day he kept saying BSIA was our leader. Yeah, that's another thing, Pinky. I think I heard a little bit on that Ron guy's channel. I didn't actually hear BSIA arguing with him yet, but I don't know what the argument is about, why he's coming for BSIA. I think BSIA primarily wants us to understand that we are the true Americans, which I believe in as well. I don't like the fact that he likes to put white culture on a pedestal, though. We need to worry about our own culture and our own advancements and our own gifts and what we can bring to the table, and not always thinking about white folks so much. So that is why I don't agree with BSIA as much, but I do believe in the part of claiming your Americanness. But I understand what you mean, Pinky. You said, I asked him what he kept saying, BSIA was our leader, and I told him a lot of his mods have been following BSIA. Yeah, I don't understand that. That's weird, because he's not our leader. He's someone that's given an opinion. He has a strong opinion, and you can take what you believe, and the part you don't believe, you just don't take on. You said, Wells, oh wow, now he's tripping. Pinky says, yeah, that's what I'm seeing. I saw the end of his live last night. He said people that follow BSIA were weirdos, so I'm out. No, he can't be saying that kind of thing. He has to understand that many of us are searching for various information and truths to validate and confirm in our mind how we feel about this delineation movement. And you're not going to have a monolith of people that's going to say the exact same thing. That's just not going to happen with 40 million Black Americans. We're not all going to be on the same level of thought. And you just have to respect to let people say their piece and try to agree to disagree without alienating the other person with their opinion. As long as they're not scamming us, they're not looking to set us up, I don't see why we cannot relate with one another more, or even find forgiveness for some of the things that have been said in times past about different people, to move on and move forward. You said that, and a lot of our folks are making channels but not doing the work offline. I don't understand, but I will be at the State House 10/28 to go against Representative Johnson running for governor here. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. So that is going to be in, is that what state exactly is it? You talking about Chicago, or are you talking about somewhere else? Because Johnson is the mayor, I thought, if you're talking about him. Your favorite nurse says, I hope Marcel Dixon comes too. We got to keep these folks out of office. Pinky says, now he's critical of all other YouTubers. Is that right? And his ego, he's got to drop his ego. I really haven't listened to Ron too much because he's a little bit too long-winded at times, and he cuts off while you're listening to what he's playing on a recorder. When people are talking, he keeps cutting it off and speaking over it to the point where I'm not interested in listening. I don't know why he does that. And Pinky says, you're an essay, I want him to win. Okay. And you said, yes, in the low country, Johnson cares nothing about Black Americans. I've seen him in action. Yeah, they don't care about us. That's what BSIA wants, and Ron wants us to say we're black. I think the most important word to say above all is American, to be honest. American is the most important word out of all words that's being said. But people want to fight over blackness or whatever. I mean, we do have to designate ourselves separate from white folks, and that's probably why Ron still wants to hold on to black. But you can say Indigenous American, you could say FBA, ADOS, I don't know, whatever way makes you know who you are comfortably in this country. We have got to let that be known and not stay quiet, because many other Africans and Pan-Africans are steadily on platforms and declaring us to be what we are not claiming ourselves to be on purpose. And they're trying to force their will and impose their thoughts and wishes onto us. And this is why I don't like what Pan-Africanism is doing. It's very invasive. It is not allowing us to have our own agency of thought and of person. It's not a respecter of our ownership of self. Just like they have their own agency of their identity, wherever they come from. There's respect about their tribe, their culture, them being Yorubas or whatever, Nigerians or whatever they call themselves. But these same people, such as Nigerians and others, not African Goddess, I might add, she's not the one that does this, but I'm talking about other Africans, Nigerians in particular, who have taken upon themselves to declare that Black Americans are ultimately Nigerians, and that we should just accept being one of them and calling ourselves African and all these types of things. They have an unhealthy obsession over what we are calling ourselves, and they feel very threatened that we are standing up for ourselves, which I think is a very good thing to finally do, because we have been laid back too long, too passive, too quiet, while everybody else has been running circles around us saying we are this, and now we're stopping it. Anyways, you said, I believe a lot of what BSIA says. Okay. And your favorite nurse says, research his fight for illegals, but quiet on school funding being missing. Yeah, they're a mess. You said, I'm going to check out BSIA channel. I actually found his channel yesterday. I didn't know he changed the name, but I actually found it yesterday. So I'm going to start listening to it in a little bit. Pinky says, Ron said a lot of weirdos that follow BSIA be in his chat. Wow, he's disrespectful. All right, Columbia, South Carolina. All right, and I will offer to make phone calls for Marcel Dixon again, will you? I've been in his chat almost daily. All right, and your favorite nurse says, I don't say black anymore because the folks that said forever me no black, I something else are now claiming black, hijacking our mess. I know that it's just really ridiculous to see what is going on YouTube and TikTok and all these other places. Now let me get back to what this guy had to say. I don't want to get too far off to let him say his spill, because he really went in on Dr. Ericana for us to understand how diabolical and sneaky she is. And he wanted to be more respectful to her because she is an elder, but I'm different. I'm not going to be respectful to anybody that's coming for our jugular. I'm sorry. Someone that's a predator trying to take as much as they can get from us and leave us with absolutely nothing. I can't respect. But let's get back to this.
President
Ibrahim Toure is while ADDI would be receiving citizenship. They would not even talk to you unless you got paid them their money. And then the promise was made for citizenship. The promise had been made all the way through the months of May, June. Then it was pushed off due to terrorist activities and things that were going on with President Ibrahim, to the point that it was pushed off to October. I'm going to say again, these were promises made to each paying member that you would receive citizenship based on your membership with ADDI as long as you provided all the proper documentation. This was said that President Toure had given signed a declaration, a proclamation granting that we would be granted citizenship. So not only did myself, but many people brought others along for the ride. We joined in to bring members to ADDI. We championed ADDI. We championed Dr. Africana. We believed in her cause. We did not do our diligent homework, because there are a lot of things that have happened throughout that are tied to her name, but we championed her. We have people, and I'm going to address, and I'm going to call names out, but we have Miss Taylor, who believed in this mission so much that she moved to Burkina Faso awaiting citizenship. In a recent Zoom meeting, they alluded that she was not a member to try to discredit her. I'm here to say that not only did she immediately drop her membership, show that she is an active member, but that she has been an active member and in correspondence with ADDI since the beginning. This is not made up. They have used tactics that are actually very much CIA's thought process to demean and discredit people who are only asking for accountability, who are only asking for transparency, who are only asking my elder to come forward and explain what exactly happened. Right? If President Toure signed a proclamation granting us citizenship, we are not upset. Things change, but show us the proclamation, because that's what you sold. That's what you advertised. That's what you used your name and your credibility and your historic history to sell. And then it didn't come through. If the government stated and gave you the authority to promise citizenship to your members, then there should be some type of documentation. We as ADDI members, we are not asking, we are requiring. We are standing on the fact that you owe us an explanation. You do not get to hide behind your age. You do not get to hide behind your status. You don't get to hide behind your medical degree. You will stand forward in front of the people who paid you money, and you will talk to us as equals. We are not beneath you. We will give you your proper respects as a grandmother. We will give you your proper respects as an elder. But we expect you, Dr. Africana, to stand forward before us and speak to us. I will be the first to apologize if you can show me proof. If you stand in front and say, well, here's the proclamation, which is all we've asked. We're sorry it changed, but this is what happened. Then I will be the first, I will be the first to get on the bandwagon on any show and in any face and say, hey, I was wrong. But we've been asking consistently, not just myself, but every member has been asking for the same thing, sending emails, trying to get messages. We're no longer even allowed to talk on the Zoom meetings because they don't want to answer questions. I know multiple platforms has reached out to them and asked them to come forward and speak. According to them, as of now, they are no longer going to speak about this. She is beyond reproach, according to them, but that is not how it operates. So what I am saying to Dr. Africana, what I am saying to her directly, as a young man, as someone who is junior to her, I am calling her out and I'm saying, ma'am, madam, queen, I am giving her the utmost respect and saying this is your opportunity to stand before and speak. Don't 100% transparency. You have failed in many things that you have done. You have lied, you have manipulated, and you have hid behind your age for far too long. You were fired for misappropriation of funds. Now,
Again, I got wind of this back in 2019 when there was a white Australian dude who was living in South Africa at the time. He had a YouTube channel, and he was like a random white guy that I happened to be following, talking about South Africa. And one day he happened to say he had a whistleblower that had articles and paperwork to showcase what the full scope of the scam involved at the African Union, down to the dollar. I think that it was about a little bit over 300,000 in total, but it was like slews of paper that he ran through discussing. And at the time I had got a lot of the information. I read out what it said word for word and everything in that regard. But because he was a white guy, a Boer, I said to myself that I needed to go get further confirmation before I really went in about it, because, you know, people can make it up or whatever. So I did my due diligence. I went to a law library. I put in information about the firing as was described in the information that he had. And lo and behold, a State Department letter that was submitted to them by the African Union came about, and I discovered, you know, line by line, what she had did, how she was moving, and why she was fired. And even though I was doing many videos talking about it, you know, there was this thought process that she was fired because of her passionate speeches against France. Somehow France got in the ear of the African Union and made her go away. And that stuck. Not that she did what she did with all the monies and misappropriating, having a pageant one time, and other cost that totaled close to $300,000 for what she had did while she was the ambassador for a few years. And people opted to believe that the African Union was just lying, and that surely it was due to her powerful speeches that rubbed the colonizers the wrong way. And they just ran with it. They ran with it so much that they declared that they wanted to get signatures to reinstate her as the ambassador. And they were able to get 46,000 signatures to try to get her back as the African Union. But it was all a lie and a front to make it seem like there's a possibility that a truth was not told, because, you know, you're bringing in all these other what ifs. Could have been this and that and the other as well. What is the true reason behind why she's really gone? And that confusion gave an out for her to pretend like people just made something up and put it on her name. And that's what people try to say when I brought it out. Oh, they smearing her because she was doing such a good job. She's rattling the African heads that are over the African Union because she's doing more for the people than they are, and they're jealous. And all this type of talk came about when I brought it up. It was just very interesting how they were able to lie for her, and they were willing to say whatever to get her unblemished again. And that was very interesting to me. I thought that that was very odd. But again, we are easily duped. Many of the Black Americans were the forefront runners running around talking about you're crazy, telling me you crazy, you hate Africans, all this, you're a liar. You know, I didn't have a lot of people that were supporting me. I didn't have a lot of subscribers at the time. So I was easily able to be flicked off. But all I knew is that I would keep redundantly saying the same thing over a course of years so that people would know that they heard it from somewhere. And it worked. People know that I was the main one talking about Dr. Ericana. But it is what it is. So let's move forward.
Give you the benefit because you absolutely spoke against the French. But independent as investigations say absolutely. And let's rewind. We're not going to say misappropriation of funds. We're going to say stealing. We like to put fancy titles to make people feel good. But this is what you were fired for. We gave you the benefit of the doubt. You then led a venture with coffee, and it failed. You then led a venture, and money came up missing, and you didn't answer the questions to those people. You then ran a mission on gold. Money came up missing. You didn't answer questions.
Yes, I had heard about the gold venture through, at the time, he was known as Pan-African Strikes Back Again. Now he's known as Defiant Brandon, I believe. But he had a guest on his panel that just talked about loss of money in a group that was supposedly partaking in getting gold through the ADDI and how they were ripped off from monies trying to get gold. And unfortunately, at the time, Pan-African Strikes Back Again, he got rid of that video immediately. It never seen the light of day. As soon as the live went down, the video was gone. And it just showed and told me that Pan-Africans are definitely in the business of protecting other Pan-Africans because they want the facade of Pan-Africanism being this beacon of hope for us to be partakers in. And so they would rather you continue believing that versus knowing how vulnerable we are with the types of lies that are being told about Pan-Africanism. And it was just really, it was fucked up. It was just like, wow. But here we go back to this.
It's for them. You then led a Wakanda project and over $2 million came up missing. And you didn't.
$2 million, y'all. Back in 2021, I'm going to play real quick this video where she was running around talking about Wakanda City. And she has not made mention of that city since, but she collected $2 million. And I warned with this scam on Mouthy Megan. I actually went on her platform and we did a show. And, you know, it was a really good show. It was about 3 hours long where we discussed Foster Ericana. And she had that video up for a little while, maybe about a year. So shout out to Mouthy Megan to at least listen to what was going on at the time, because this woman was just getting on a roll with scamming.
Welcome to African Diaspora Development Institute, an institute that is designed to be the bridge between the African diaspora and the motherland, Africa. We're looking forward to an amazing 2021 where we have many projects that are laid out for you. Our blueprint is very clear in terms of what we would like to see accomplished this coming year. Of course, our flagship program is going to be the Wakanda City of Return, which is going to be built in our beloved city of Cape Coast in Ghana. That is going to be the shining city on the hill. The city that's going to stand up and look across the Atlantic and remind the slavers that while you may have won for over 400 years, the children of Africa are back home, back to that piece of land their ancestors last set foot on the beloved continent of Africa. The children of Africa, descendants of the formerly enslaved, are going to come back home to Cape Coast. That is where we are going to converge and look the slavers in the face and say, you may have won for over 400 years, but ultimately we are the victors. Wakanda City of Return, Cape Coast, Ghana. Please go to our website, learn more about it. Another exciting project that we are looking to also sponsor.
So let me read something real quick from the AI overview. It says, no, because I put in, is the Wakanda City built in Ghana? It says, no, there is no Wakanda City built in Ghana. And a similar project in Senegal has been officially scrapped. A project called Wakanda City of Return was announced for Cape Coast, Ghana in 2020, but significant progress has, has not been reported. And it does not appear to be moving forward. Meanwhile, the ambitious Akon City project in Senegal, which was also inspired by Wakanda, was officially canceled in 2025. So there's been no word of it having any forward action. It has no word of it being built, but she was able to get $2 million from people that signed on to believe in a lie of this Wakanda City going to be built, and you just say whatever you want to say and people get all tingled inside and they start throwing money at these Pan-African predator liars. She is the biggest one. She's the most dangerous one. She's the most unsuspecting one. The fact that she's a woman, she's an elder, she's a doctor, she has had success in her life. She talks well. And this gives the illusion that she is on the up and up and that she's for the people and that she would never do anything that resembles a scam when that's the first thing that she would do. And that's just what it is. Listen to this.
This time, we are focusing on addressing those issues that are pivotal issues to Africa's economic development. As diaspora, we are saying, in order for us to really take over our beloved continent, we must get ourselves involved in ownership. We have chosen 3 sectors to concentrate on: mining, agriculture, manufacturing. Can you imagine, my brothers and sisters, if we can increase our ownership of these sectors? So on that end, we're going to be introducing a country every month and highlighting those 3 sectors, and more importantly, identifying projects for you to invest in. Projects ranging to...
Keyword, your money in her hand. That's all she ever wants for you to do. She makes up a project. She says this is about to happen. Oh, it's going to take this long to do. And she gets you locked in with the potential of jump starting this project, and you start giving her thousands upon thousands of dollars, and before you know it, it turns into millions of dollars and it's sitting in her bank account. That is not Pan-Africanism. That is basically taking money off the top and, making up stories later as to why the program or project can't start on time. And before you know it, you are forgetting about it altogether. It's 2021 is when she started talking about it. It's now 2025 going on 2026. No comment, Dr. Ericana, about this Wakanda City. No comment about Akon City being scrapped. Why don't the Pan-Africans talk about their failures? They're so good in talking about their fake successes or their wannabe magnificent project that they want to go do. But whenever it hits the fan and it doesn't materialize, they just go mum's the word. They forget about it altogether. They play dumb, like they don't even realize they said what they said a few years before. And people just let them off the hook. Oh, well, Wakanda City, I guess they'll get back to it when they get back to it. I guess that's a good enough excuse with our money that she takes, that we can just say, oh, she'll get back to it when she gets back to it, because that's Mama Africa. That's the Pan-African queen. That's the doctor that speaks well. We can't go against her. We can't say what's going on with our money. We can't say, are you telling us the truth because you ain't started yet? You ain't said nothing yet? It's ridiculous.
As little as 50,000 and all the way to millions. Our plan is to raise a bond of $500 million per country.
That's what you caught it right there. She said it on another video, but I want you to hear it again. This bond that she talked about, a $500 million bond that she somehow got her hands on, and she's so excited about it, but it's a loan. And somehow that $500 million bond has to be paid back. And everything and all things that she's doing with that ADDI has this in mind. So I want you to listen to it again.
We're going to be introducing a country every month and highlighting those three sectors, and more importantly, identifying projects for you to invest in. Projects ranging from as little as 50,000 and all the way to millions. Our plan is to raise a bond of $500 million per country. And that's going to be our entry into a country. And that's how we're going to begin to fund the projects that diaspora are going to be involved in as we come together to build the Africa that we want. All that information is going to be available for you on our website. And of course, look out for our monthly webinars, where we'll be telling you all about it, where we'll be sharing ideas about what our beloved Africa is ready to offer us, about what our beloved continent is ready to do for us. So join our ADDI.org, be part of the movement, learn more about the blueprint, learn more about the projects that we're going to be rolling out in 2021. But above all, you must be a participant in the building of the Wakanda City of Return.
So she can just roll out various projects, doesn't have to be confirmed, validated, doesn't have to be checked at the door. No one has to go check around, kick around the tire to determine whether or not this woman is full of shit or not. We just have to go off of her sing-song voice. Oh, we're going to build the Africa that we want. We got this bond that we're trying to build, and we need all the diaspora to build it. And we'll be so successful, and in no time, we'll have that Wakanda City. All that talk is nothing more than talk. So now let's get back to the guy that's really breaking it down. And he really went in, and I was kind of shocked that he was on this platform, because she is also good friends, I thought, with Dr. Ericana, because she interviewed her, like I said, years ago, and they seem to really know one another. So I was kind of shocked to see this guy on this Dr. Tata platform. But maybe she felt some kind of way about how things were done. I don't know. But he's really going to spell out what really went on. I want y'all really to listen. Please hit the like, by the way. Please show support by hitting the like, subscribing to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. I will not be doing as many lives as I have been doing before, but when I feel like there's something that I can, put in a full circle or give more understanding, or if I do start discerning something new, I will come back and talk about it.
I'm not going to disrespect her because she is an elder. But asking someone for accountability, asking them to be transparent, asking them to be honest is not by any means disrespectful. And it should not be looked at that way. It should not be hiding behind your age. Should not be something we do. I want to also address that there have been multiple accusations being thrown out, labeling us as ops, CIA, people who have asked for these accountability, where it's been a lot of name calling. And these are on recorded conversations, Zooms, where we've been labeled as basically trying to take her down, sent by governments to take her under. This is a tactic used to manipulate people who are psychologically inferior. To say that I am a CIA operative without any proof, which I am not, to say that people aren't just genuinely upset that they feel they were lied to, and we came to you and asked you as our elder to speak to us, not down to us, but to speak to us and say, this is what happened, and to show the proof. For all those listening, we have asked for nothing more than for you to show the proof. There were many, this has been going on since January, there have been members who actually gained access and joined ADDI based on the promise made by Dr. Africana and her organization. In order to become a citizen, this was something that stated by her relationship with
President
Ibrahim Traore is while ADDI would be receiving citizenship. They would not even talk to you unless you got paid them their money. And then the promise was made for citizenship. The promise had been made all the way through the months of May, June. Then it was pushed off due to terrorist activities and things that were going on with President Ibrahim, to the point that it was pushed off to October. I'm going to say again, these were promises made to each paying member that you would receive citizenship based on your membership with ADDI as long as you provided all the proper documentation. This was said that President Traore had given signed a declaration, a proclamation granting that we would be granted citizenship. So not only did myself, but many people brought others along for the ride. We joined in to bring members to ADDI. We championed ADDI. We championed Dr. Africana. We believed in her cause. We did not do our diligent homework because there are a lot of things that have happened throughout that are tied to her name, but we championed her. We have people, and I'm going to address and I'm going to call names out, but we have Miss Taylor, who believed in this mission so much that she moved to Burkina Faso awaiting citizenship. In a recent Zoom meeting, they alluded that she was not a member to try to discredit her. I'm here to say that not only did she immediately drop her membership, show that she is an active member, but that she has been an active member and in correspondence with ADDI since the beginning. This is not made up. They have used tactics that are actually very much CIA's thought process to demean and discredit people who are only asking for accountability, who are only asking for transparency, who are only asking my elder to come forward and explain what exactly happened. Right? If President Traore signed a proclamation granting us citizenship, we are not upset. Things change, but show us the proclamation, because that's what you sold. That's what you advertised. That's what you used your name and your credibility and your historic history to sell. And then it didn't come through. If the government stated and gave you the authority to promise DEI members, we are not asking, we are requiring. We are standing on the fact that you owe us an explanation. You do not get to hide behind your age. You do not get to hide behind your status. You don't get to hide behind your medical degree. You will stand forward in front of the people who paid you money, and you will talk to us as equals. We are not beneath you. We will give you your proper respects as a grandmother. We will give you your proper respects as an elder. But we expect you, Dr. Africana, to stand forward before us and speak to us. I will be the first to apologize if you can show me proof. If you stand in front and say, well, here's the proclamation, which is all we've asked. We're sorry it changed, but this is what happened.
And what the proclamation is basically a public or official announcement, especially one dealing with a matter of great importance. And they were assuming that the Burkina Faso president, Toure, was going to, I guess, make a formal statement about getting the citizenship according to being linked up with the ADDI database, as making it more official, so that everybody understood that this is a kind of a decree or order, something on that level. And that never ever happened. It was just stated as such. So it got the juices flowing in the minds and hearts of those that really want to have this undying loyalty and expectation of hope and willingness to sacrifice themselves towards, in their mind, a greater good, in that what Toure was about. But obviously, what Burkina Faso, not being the most safest country with all the attempted assassinations and everything like that, it just was never from the get-go a good idea to even offer. It was kind of a reckless and not really fully thought out plan to do in the first place. But when you have somebody like Dr. Ericana, who does not really give a damn about Black Americans like that, she sees us as expendable. She sees us as less than usable, someone that you can use up and spit out, and nobody is going to say nothing about it because we are deemed as being without a tribe or considered a people, because people are always saying all the time how we don't have culture, how we don't know ourselves, how we don't know where we're from. And they're able to run game on us to make us feel less than. And somehow some of the people that are jumping on her bandwagon gets all guilted and feel like they have to do something to appease this African woman that they don't even know, that try to get validation and a pat on the head from her as being accepted by her. And so you got to go out of your way to change your colors, your stripes, your dots, who you are, who God made you to be, to change it so that that woman can make you feel like you are on the right track of becoming acceptable in her eyes and doing for Africans when you're not doing for your own people in America. And that's the part that I would have an issue with Pan-Africanism. How are you going to abandon your own in America and worry about other people from across the water elsewhere? It doesn't make sense to put strangers over yourself, over your known family, friends, neighbors that you've been knowing a long time and that you know are in dire straits, especially now, to be running up over there to Africa, concerning yourself with their imaginary projects and ideas about how many ways can they get your money. I just don't get it. Why some are so gullible and they believe that that's something that they have to do. And it's always ends badly.
Be the first. I will be the first to get on the bandwagon on any show and in any face and say, hey, I was wrong. But we've been asking consistently, not just myself, but every member has been asking for the same thing, sending emails, trying to get messages. We're no longer even allowed to talk on the Zoom meetings because they don't want to answer questions.
So they can't even talk on the Zoom. They're being treated like children. Do as I say, not as I do. Accept what I say and move on with your life. Who are you to step to me and ask me anything? I am Dr. Ericana, Mama Africa. I touch elbows with Captain Torre. I make speeches all over the place. Check me out. Put my name in the title and see how many videos pops up glorifying this so-called honorable used to be ambassador. And this is why it's so hard sometimes to reach our people, because they let status and a name, a title, be the reason why you don't say anything, because you feel inferior to her accomplishments as a doctor or whatever the hell you see in her. But in my mind, she's coming after us to gut us, to disrespect us and take over and disadvantage us. So I don't have no fond thoughts about her. I don't feel like I need to talk to her about her gently, because she's not moving gently. She's not acting as if she's careful. She's not acting like she gives a damn about any outcomes that may befall us. She's willing to take risk with your money. When all said and done, she got your money in her hand and you are without the money you had. So it's a win-win for her. She spends it to talk about as a project upcoming. Now it's not citizenship, now it's residency, even though that's not what you thought you were going to get. And somehow she's supposed to comb that over and make it sound just as good as getting a citizenship. And for the dummies that are easily influenced or bashed, belittled, gaslit, will go ahead and take on the notion, oh, okay, well, at least I'm in the sphere of maybe getting citizenship down the road, but that's not what you paid $835 to do. Suddenly, that's not what you paid. And if you do go to Burkina Faso, you're spending more money to fly in. You're spending more money to be in the hotels and buy food. So all in all, you're going to be shelling out additional funds that you probably wouldn't have shelled out had you not been given the wrong information. If you've been given the correct information about what was about to happen, for real, and if it would have been about residency in the beginning, you would have been like, oh no, I'm good. But that didn't happen. That opportunity did not happen. Pinky says, for Black, more people are talking about her now, but not enough. Yes, there are more people talking. I think O'Shea Du Jackson is doing a good job. I feel that he has to totally unequivocally denounce Pan-Africanism. I think that he kind of is on the edge of doing it with certain things that he says, but sometimes he likes to come back and say, you know, not everybody's bad. It's still kind of possible. You know, if the stars align and the sky opens up, I don't think that Pan-Africanism is a benefit to Black Americans, not one iota. There's just too much risk involved for us to get caught up in and lose a lot for barely anything. And it's just not worth it. If the Africans were on board working with Ericana maybe it would be more believable. But you notice, more or less, the Africans are not coming to be involved with the ADDI. They're just hopeful that you would do what she's asking for you to do. So maybe later on, other opportunities with other Africans that claim to be Pan-Africans can also shoot the same type of rhetoric to other Black Americans and scam and scheme on them. You said, I see a woman in chat saying our reparations already paid to African continent. I wouldn't be surprised, Pinky, with what Biden was doing. He definitely was wording everything pertaining to the Black community was supposed to be set up to go to Africa. There was a little article that one of my mods had me read of Biden's, and I can't remember her name offhand, man, because she changed her name a couple of times. But yeah, she gave me this article whereby Biden was talking about monies going towards Africa instead of the Black community, like it skipped over our community. And this is why I was trying to say that collectively, I think that we should start making letters and faxing things, making calls. Like if we overwhelmed the system with calls and complaints about what Pan-Africans are doing, what other organizations are attempting to do, and also bring up the likes of Ericana and what she's done and continues to try to do, to let them understand that we are under siege with all these Pan-Africans waltzing about here in America, trying to get us to spend money and go to Africa. And they're like messing with us. And I want that to stop. I want us to have our own agency to figure out what we need to do right here in America, because most of us don't care to go to Africa. And that's not saying we hate Africans. We're not from there. It's not saying that some of us won't want to visit there, but they don't want to put their neck on the line. They don't want to risk anything and lose it. They don't want to do all of that. Yes, I love Mouthy Megan. Her video last night was fire. Yes, I am more and more loving what Mouthy Megan has done, because she is no nonsense speaker, and that's what I really can respect. That's how I wish more men would speak. But sometimes it seems like the men are more polished and careful more than the women are, because we just say the truth right there in your face. We don't have the luxury to really smooth things over and make it sound feminine to the ears and tingle and all that kind of stuff. We don't have time for all of that. They had such a a head start and taken advantage of us for years now. They have a stronghold right now. And the only way to get rid of the stronghold is to really come up in various voices, collectively, all the time, dispelling all the myths and the lies that are being told about these different projects and opportunities that are not there. You said we are not African diaspora. Americans are not African diaspora. No, we're not. I do not and will not ever claim to be a part of a diaspora, because if I did have a diaspora, then of course Black Americans could be deported to their homeland. We do not have a homeland, although people like Ericana, people like Umar and other Pan-Africans would like us to believe that Africa is our true home and America just is not, while coming over here to America to try to assimilate themselves into America, claiming to become us. No Pan-African tells these continental Africans that you're not really American when they claim to be American. They don't say a word. None of them talks about the Haitians and the other Caribbeans that come, that they're not real Americans. They just leave them the hell alone to do whatever it is they're doing, and they got all eyes on us. When we say that we're American, somehow we have slapped their grandma in the face. We have disrespected the gods in Africa. Let them tell it. We are in denial of our Africanness. Let them tell it. These are all the manipulations of Pan-Africans that have been played upon Black Americans solely. And it's really annoying to see these things and people not really get pissed about it. This is the part that I just cannot get with. I just don't get it. Okay. You said my granddaddy May, Yah bless his soul, always taught us not to trust no fast talking fool. Exactly. African diasporans ain't going to build shit. They're waiting for us to bring resources to build for them. That's exactly what I say. I go to Search of Uru's platform sometimes and I just vent in the chat room and I just tell them, you know, we are not the sacrifice that's coming to save you. We are not going to be on your rescue to save you. People have designated us to be the people that's got to get involved, to do the dirty work, to go out there and pretend that we're Superman and Superwoman to appease Africans and what their plight's all about. And it's like, no, we are with our own plight, needing to survive. It's unfortunate that things are happening around the world involving migrants really bad, galore everywhere you turn. There's just so much happening, and Trump's not helping it with these mass deportations. But again, they came over here illegally. They were flooding into our neighborhoods. They were making our schools unbearable. They were making the living arrangements and housing fewer jobs harder to compete with because they're able to pay them less than, and putting up in hotels, giving them vouchers and giving them food stamps and everything under the sun, the works, while not paying the citizens of America no, never mind. But these people were willing to do whatever it took. Let me just play a little bit of Al Jazeera just to remind y'all of how Africans are willing to go as far as they can go to try to make their way anywhere else but Africa. And yet we are told that that's our motherland, that's our promised land. They've been trying to trick us to become them, and they become us. That's the bottom line. Hold on. Wrong thing.
In Tunisia, migrants from sub-Saharan Africa wait in camps for a chance to cross the Mediterranean.
As long as you're on top of a boat as a migrant crossing this Mediterranean Sea, everything is risks.
The Tunisian government, with Europe's support, does whatever it can to stop them.
Il y a eu beaucoup de naufrages provoqués par les guerres de côte.
If they're caught at sea, some face an even more sinister fate.
Une fois arrivés dans le bus, on nous attache vraiment comme des animaux.
We spoke to migrants fighting the elements and the authorities in their desperation to reach Europe. In the south of Tunisia, among the olive groves, a life is about to begin in a makeshift shelter in the heart of a migrant camp. Ibrahim helps with the delivery. He is a 25-year-old medical student from Sierra Leone. This is Aisha, the princess of the olive trees. She's in perfect health.
La princesse des zitoun. Bravo. Bravo.
Her mother preferred to give birth on a mat on the ground rather than in the hospital.
J'ai peur d'accoucher à l'hôpital parce qu'il y a les policiers, tu vois, non? Il y a un refoulement. Les policiers nous cherchent, tu vois, non? Comme des animaux.
This is Tunisia's largest migrant camp, a few kilometers from the city of Sfax. 20,000 people from sub-Saharan Africa have found refuge here after being driven away from the cities by police. For 2 years, Tunisian President Kais Saied has been implementing an increasingly firm policy towards migrants.
لن نسمح بأن يتم تغيير التركيبة الديموغرافية وأعي جيدا ما أقول.
In 2023, the European Commission signed an agreement with Tunisia to control its borders and prevent migrant boats from reaching Europe.
And we agreed that we will cooperate on border management, anti-smuggling, return and addressing root causes in full respect of the international law. For this, we will make available more than 100 million euros of EU funding.
This migrant footage shows police attacking their boat at sea. Several NGOs have accused Tunisia of arresting migrants, then taking them to the desert and abandoning them. Since the agreement was signed with the European Union,
So they would rather go this route of possibly being dumped in the middle of the desert or drowned in the Mediterranean, either or, versus stay in Africa, versus collaborate with other Africans abroad. Why is the pressure of continental Africans not on them to do something to help out their continental Africans that are struggling to try to make their way out of Africa? There's no requirement, there's no suggestion or thought brought to the continental Africans about anything that they should try, or any type of pressure on them to feel about what's happening on the ground. It skips them and it's placed into the lap of Black Americans as to, if we would do this and we would do that, somehow magically other things will open up and breakthroughs would happen. All this imaginary talk that people like to place onto us, scapegoating us. This is what they do. But the reality is, it's real dangerous trying to make your way. In a lot of different cases, Africans have lost their life, or they're sent back, or they're treated very unkind, or they're beaten or whatever, or unalived. This is the reality. But Dr. Ericana has never talked about the plight of those continental Africans that I just showed you. She has no concern or consideration for any of them because she's got us always on the brain. The only thing she has on the brain is how much money can she solicit from us. Now, I let you guys listen to the one guy. I think that I played a little bit enough because he is a little bit long-winded. And basically he said that she didn't keep her promise. There was no proclamation showcased about Captain Torre saying that he was going to make citizenship or give out citizenship to Black Americans or the diaspora or whatever. None of these things are proven. There ain't no taping to showcase that. You know, it's just something that she said happened, and that's supposed to be enough. So now I want to get to her latest, Dr. Ericana, because she came out swinging, y'all. She did an hour and 15-minute live, kind of make it seem like everybody else is at fault, to put her in the same category as a scammer, because somehow it is the parliament, it's everybody else but her. Surely they got it wrong because she is godlike. Let me see, not that. Go back. Yeah, but she came out swinging a little bit. But again, I notice, you know, there's going to be some people that are still going to be stupefied and believe in what she's spinning because of how she sounds. But again, I have showed you time and time again the true essence of her firing. The Wakanda City never came to be. That $500 million bond that she has attached to the ADDI, the gold that was supposedly bought by some of the members, that messed up with money wise, because the gold, in whatever way, I can't remember how it was put because the video was taken down immediately. But I want you to hear what she had to say. This is her way of trying to get people back on board with what she's on. And she thinks that she can just say a little this and a little that, and it's supposed to be enough to get you to believe anything that she has to say moving forward.
I'm trying to get myself in. Okay, there we go. Yes, I'm in now. Thank you. Now I need to position my phone so I can see. Okay. Thank you guys for coming. Professor Lumumba, Reverend Maponga, ADDI leadership, members of ADDI, and Friends of Africa, thank you for coming to join us in this very important conversation. Conversations that we're going to talk about who we are as a people. Most of you have been calling Professor Lumumba, you have been calling myself, you have been calling Reverend Maponga, and you were saying, we can't keep talking. We want action. What are you guys going to do? So we got together and the opportunity came to go to Burkina Faso. And we could not have found a better place to come and begin this very important conversation than a country that is actually doing that which we desire. A country that represents what African leadership should look like and must look like and will look like going forward. So we're fortunate that we're going to be going to Burkina Faso as guests of the country, of the government. Yes, we started with citizenship, but this is a country with a government, a country with a parliament, a country whose parliament has decided, let's start with permanent residency. And even that is not something to sneeze at.
But it is something to sneeze at. And not only that, they're, according to Stone Facts Memes, there was another coup attempt foiled just a couple of days ago. Let's see if they give the date. But at any time that this man gets assassinated, anything that people have established as business or citizenship, residency, whatever it is, it will all go to the wayside immediately. But I want you to hear what this is real quick. That's going to be something. So this says, it reads, since taking power, 36-year-old President Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso, often called a modern-day Gaddafi for his pan-African stance, has faced nearly 20 assassinations or coup attempts. Just last week, on April 16th, so not last week, but in April 16th, I guess that's the last time that it was done. April, May, June, July, August, September, October. So 6 months ago, he had the last attempt. It said another plot to overthrow him was intercepted, aimed at destabilizing the nation and placing it under international control. So there's always a threat of that happening. If something happens to that man, suddenly there will be a vacuum of leadership. And of course, there will be a battle of trying to replace him, if he is unalive, with one of the puppets of France or the United States or something. But again, high hopes going over there, residency, wannabe citizenship in a French country really leaves you vulnerable and wide open for any and all things to befall you. And that is not the way that someone that supposedly cares about the descendants of slaves to want to have them go and tackle with that when it is not settled, it's not stable, it's not safe. But that's what her mind went to. Hey, I could use the name of Traoré to get these clowns all in their feelings about looking at an African hero, and I can make them believe that somehow they could be a part of this revolution by having proximity to him because they're in the country visiting, or they're trying to live there or something. But that's not what was stated. It was citizenship. But she tried to clean it up, y'all. She most definitely am trying to clean it up. Let's listen to her poor job of cleaning it up, because it didn't sound right to me, because it's all hogwash. But that's how people do us. It's just say any goddamn thing, and we're supposed to be accepting and, oh, it's all good. Whatever you throw at me, I'll accept. I ain't nobody important to be honoring and respecting. So I'll just take whatever you give me, Dr. Ericana, because you are the Honorable Dr. Ericana. I can't speak out against you, because you are well known by all these Africans and all these other leaders and all these other people. Somehow I gotta reverence you, even though you stole from me and lied to my face. Make that make sense.
Thing to sneeze at. Where do you go and just waltz in the country and be offered permanent residency? So permanent residency.
And then she tries to turn it around and say, you know, why would you go and do this without expecting these things because of the times and what's going on? Well, didn't you know that these things were going on with attempted assassinations, and, you know, it wasn't going to pan out to have this citizenship? And you knew early enough to tell people that that was actually not going to be the case. And somehow you concealed that information like a month prior. You knew the change had happened. The adjustment to not getting citizenship was understood to you for about a whole entire month. And you sat on it from my understanding, it leaked out through some type of WhatsApp app call, Zoom call, or something like that, where someone spilled the beans about, hey, by the way, there's not going to be citizenship after all. It's not been approved. They declined and said no. And people were saying, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, but their ears started itching and they went and made calls and emails and whatnot. And that's when it all hit the fan with this Zoom call that they came out with to say, hey, yeah, that's not going to happen. It's going to be just residency, but that's good enough. You can go ahead and get that. You'll still be in the proximity of Captain Torre, your newfound hero. You can still worship that African that we're trying to get you to go do. Because that's all it seems to me that Dr. Ericana is trying to get us to be worshipers of Africans. And they think that she's good to be worshiped on. They think that Torre is also good to be worshiped on. And many others, I'm sure they'll try to devise later to get them to be worshiped, to be put on pedestals. They're trying to find our new Malcolm X. They're trying to find our new Martin Luther King, of the African version. They want to replace our leaders with their leaders to be worshiped. And a lot of us dumbly are following behind the stupidity of that.
Yes, it was the decision of the parliament. We had the ambassador with us week before last, and he explained the process. He explained we started out with citizenship, but last minute our pathway was supposed to be different. Our pathway was supposed to be by presidential decree, but the parliament felt that we should go slow and start with citizenship. It is a permanent residency rather. So it is what it is. We are going to go home to Burkina Faso. We are going to start with citizenship as a pathway, permanent residency as a pathway to citizenship. And those who want to come will come. Those who are supposed to be there will be there. The naysayers with their many accusations about a lie. I don't know why a group of us would meet early hours of the morning to accommodate people in Africa, late hours at night to accommodate people in Africa, just to mess with you, just to scam you of $500. When I am
Yes, that $500 plus the $365, was it, gave you a total of $865 a pop times 1,200. So you acting like $500 is all it was is a joke in itself. You're not being honest and even expressing. You garnered $1 million. And what you should be saying is that for the ones that are not satisfied with not getting citizenship, I will reimburse you all the money ASAP before this trip, October 26th. And for the ones that's going to rock with the residency, just let me know, email me, call me, whatever, or say it in the Zoom room. We'll put you on a list that you are okay with going this route despite not getting that citizenship with what you were told previous to. Why can't you do that, Dr. Ericana? Why is that so hard to do? You got to try to make it seem like we're being ridiculous for talking about $500, but 500 plus 500 plus 500, 1,000, 1,200 times, alongside with 365 times, that's not something to sneeze at. But you were trying to make it seem like it's chump change, it's not no big deal. Why are you guys acting like it's all that? If it ain't all that, give it back. If it's not all that, Ericana, give the money back. But the problem is you're going to have a hard time wanting to give back that money. Let's go.
putting my own money to add it to ADDI so this event can be a success. And then to do all that, and then have people accuse you of scamming them. What a joke. What a joke.
So, Ericana, what do you call the Wakanda city that you never started on in Ghana since 2021 and you collected $22 million? What do you call that venture? You call it successful because you received $2 million and nobody has asked you about it? Is it okay to say you're going to do something and years elapse and you never show proof of building anything with the money you got? No one's supposed to ask you anything about that because what? Again, you've been scamming for a long time and you're not done scamming. You've gotten so comfortable scamming and you have so many people protecting you and hiding for you, you know, little bit of details of information that they may know of so that it doesn't look as bad as it seems. You're holding back information to try to make her still be this bona fide type of celebrity in the eyes of these Pan-African dumb birds. And this is why I have called out y'all. I've called y'all dumb birds because in my mind, you would have to be dumb to follow somebody blindly without testing them, researching them and learning them and knowing what they're about for real, instead of just throwing money and worshiping them and giving them all the benefits of the doubts that they would never ever give you. This is what y'all have allowed her to become and created a swamp monster in her. That's what she is, a swamp monster.
My people, you need to wake up. You need to wake up. The facts and the truth are there. The team knows what I go through, the sacrifices I make to make these things happen. Some are even accusing me that I've never met President Traore. That is all a lie. I never took people.
I'm not accusing you of that. Whoever said that might have been one particular person that made mention to that, but that does not dissolve away the fraud, the scam in which you have done. So you can't get away from what you've done with someone mistakenly saying something wrong. They just guessed wrong, but they should have done what I've done, which is pretty much look you up, look to see what you say with your own mouth, and follow you through all this time to see that you were full of lies.
Burkina Faso. That is all a lie. Why are we doing this? And then even those content creators who know very well that are been to Burkina Faso, that we met with the president, that he was grateful for what we did, they too are giving that a blind eye.
And just because you met with Captain Toure does not somehow give you superpowers because you were in his presence, like makes you somehow invincible, makes you immune. That's how you're talking, like you're immune, you're invincible, you can't be touched because you have the glow of Captain Toure hovering over you, protecting you from any questions or any concerns or anything that's done bad. It keeps you protected away from those things. Let you tell it. No, you can know Captain Toure. He is not Jesus. He is not Messiah. He is not our God, and we do not worship him. Good luck to the guy. But no, we're not putting too much on it. We're not putting too much mustard on that sandwich. No, we're not going to do that. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat before I continue. I appreciate everybody for being here. It's been a long time. I missed you guys. Let me see. Yeah, Brandon is a panty. He was in protection mode. Yes, they are. And you know what? You remember Afro think tank. He actually did a video talking about Ericana, claiming he didn't really know who she was, but here he is talking about she told the truth and she didn't scam. But this is what O'Shea Jackson even talked about, how we are dumbified to protect scammers. Somehow they are the ones that we got to put our neck on the line for, because they're going to do something for us. When exactly, I don't really understand that part, but in their mind, they tell themselves that these people eventually are going to do something for us collectively. When that never happens, they're just looking silly, because what basically happens is that they get skipped over and they get scammed and left astray and left alone. Let me see. I love Mouthy Megan. Her video was last night. Yeah, that was fire. And Pinky says, Americans, we are not African diaspora. Preach. Your favorite nurse, my granddaddy, may Yah bless his soul, always taught us not to trust no fast talking fool. Pinky says, African diasporans ain't going to build shit. They're waiting for us to bring resources and build for them. Exactly. They want us to do their sacrifice. They want us to be the sacrificial lamb, and we're not coming to the rescue. It's not our job. It's not our position. It's not our home. If y'all not going to do it, it's not going to get done. He said, I look for you for Sundays. I appreciate it. I'm trying to maybe every 2 weeks or so to come on, but I'm not going to be as consistent because, to be truth be told, I just don't get enough support. I was at one point getting a lot of viewage, but there weren't a lot of likes. There was a lot of people that were haters that were watching me. They just wanted to know what I know and what I was going to say or what I was going to do. And I got kind of tired of that, because now all these truths have come out and O'Shea's being put out there as being, the hero, brave, and all that kind of talk, which is good. He is being brave in the sense that he is in Uganda, taking a risk, being in Africa and talking against Pan-Africanism, because again, they don't want you saying nothing wrong about Pan-Africanism. So for him to do that, in a way, that's kind of like denouncing Pan-Africanism. But I think that he doesn't want to totally commit to denouncement of Pan-Africanism, because it might really get a lot of people upset. But I really don't think that the two can survive together. I don't think that our delineation movement can somehow work with the Pan-African, because the Pan-African is not respecting the delineation movement. They're not respecting for us to get our bearings together, to get our names understood and why and what we're doing as far as moving forward to combat Pan-Africans and liars that are trying to hijack our movement, our voice, our reparations, and any of that. They won't let us set up shop and get our shit in order. They're purposely attacking us, bashing us, gaslighting us, accusing things of us, lying on us, saying that you work for the CIA and, the feds, white supremacy. They can't say none of that stuff about me, because I barely have legitimate supporters. So it would take a whole host of supporters to really get behind, like CIA and agents of sorts. I have a handful of people that know of me or have known of me. I have gotten big views prior to this channel, but I was talking about Trump, and there were a couple of times I was able to fit in Dr. Ericana on a bigger live. I just kind of like slipped her in to bring her up while the numbers were there. A couple of times I did that. So the words And the understanding of what I knew definitely made it to YouTube. Definitely. He said, same, I missed last Sunday, was in a live about Joe Netta. Who's that? He said, I should have came here. That man highly irks my soul. Okay. Our people love to be entertained too. That's the issue. And I tell people, when I first started my channel, I outright said, I'm not here to entertain you. I'm not here to make you laugh. You know, I don't have that skill to make you do that because I'm too serious. I come with information that is just truthful and raw and hopefully handled ahead of time like it's meant to do, because it's a discernment of facts that are there for you to see, red flags. It's not to be laughed at. It's not to be joked about. It's a way to prevent stuff from occurring in the first place. And if people would have listened to my platform, they could have spread awareness to let them know, at least shared my video with people, let it be known about her firing and whatnot, to alert people to really take your time. I mean, nobody did any of that except for Mouthy Megan. So I have to really salute her for at least bringing me on a few years ago, and we really did a good live, and that was really a good live, you know. Let me see. Our people love to be, okay, I read that. He keeps straddling the fence. Yeah, that's what I had mentioned before. I think that he wants to not continue to straddle the fence because the truth cannot be like wrapped around with untruths. It has to just stand on its own. And I think that he feels maybe that it would let down other Africans that believed in, you know, his dating, Pan-African dating show that he got, his Ganganda show that he has, and talking about, you know, Pan-African all the time and this and that and the third. And they're just fearful that he is not, I mean, some people feel like he's not going to be able to stand the test of time. That's the perception that I'm getting from some people, that they feel that if someone says something to him that he might tone it down or he might flip the script. I'm not that way though. See, I've been consistently hard-nosed about what I'm saying, and I'm not gonna soften on what I've been saying. I've been saying that the woman is out here doing the most. She's trying to take as much away from us and leave us with nothing. She's trying to basically break us and spit us out when it's all said and done. So I don't look at that woman fondly at all. I look at her as being very predatory and dangerous, and beware of her and get the fuck out of Dodge of her, and tell your friends and family to do so as well. That's what I believe. You said, no, that's not true. They lost the battle. The AU lost. What do you mean they lost the battle? When the AU fired her? What do you mean? Pinky says letters won't happen. These people got channels too busy beefing and trying to be the top dog for the cash apps. That's what's going on, Pinky. You know, when I came to YouTube, I did not want to make money because I didn't want to be influenced to be a certain way to get money. I wanted to be able to be my authentic self, and for people just to respect the truth in which I told you. And I had hope to spare some people. That's what I had hope. When I talked about Lou Major off of Search of Uru before he starts scamming, I was going ballistic talking about him wanting to be a scammer, and lo and behold, 9-10 months later, he came out as the biggest scammer out there. And if people would have listened to me and saw him for what he was, they would have been spared. But no, people allow Lou Major to be very abrasive, very abusive, condescending, accusatory, guilting us and whatnot, and got people that do not know themselves as well as they should to cough out like $500,000 to this dude who lied about living in Ghana, who actually lived in Colombia, collecting money based off of false land purchases that he supposedly was selling and buying. It just really was ridiculous. Let me see. BSIA is not careful about what he says. That's why he lost 2 channels. Yeah, I got you with that. I was wondering, what did he say to get it taken away? And America is our motherland, Pinky says. That's exactly what I say. And that's what we got to keep telling these Pan-Africans who come in our spaces, because that is not what Ericana is telling her minions about what she deems us to be. And she's deeming us to be an African, whether we like it or not. You know, she has written a book about, you know, this so-called notion of being brainwashed and by colonization and slavery and all these things. And somehow she has the remedy to renew your mind and free you up from all this, you know, slavery and all this stuff that she thinks that somehow she's supposed to have the expertise over us on. That's what she's painting this picture, that, hey, I'm a doctor. I diagnose stuff. I also can get in your mind and diagnose what's wrong with you and why you can't see yourself in the light in which I say you must see yourself. Because I'm the authority over you, slave baby. I'm the authority over you and how you see yourself, whether you like it or not, because you don't know no better. That's how she comes off. You don't know no better. I got all the answers. They compare welfare here to the thousands and thousands of dollars they receive in grants to start up businesses. No taxes paid for years on those businesses is what I hate about this. Exactly. They get a special package deal specific to their immigration status and migrating status. They came over here and got stuff for nothing. And when we get on welfare and stuff, it's frowned upon. But when they get what they got, we supposed to just look at them with happy smiles. It's like it's ridiculous. And that's why I'm glad, again, that Trump is helping us to delineate with these mass deportation of these illegals. Is showing who is the real Americans and who are just visitors or invaders of America. It has given us a chance to really get our mind right, to speak the truth to what it really is on the ground. Now that we see what we're seeing and how they were moving, what they thought was about to happen with Kamala Harris if she was going to become president, they thought that they were going to flood us to smithereens. They thought that they were going to be able to just surpass us and never look back. And luckily, praise God, the only thing I'll say about Trump being in office is he was able to stop the flooding in of more illegal migrants that was harming the Black community overall the most. And I'm happy to see these numbers of many of them being taken out. I just hope that, you know, it continues until they're all gone. You said they call us African American. Why are Jamaicans not called African Jamaican? Haitians called African Haitians? Again, they think that they have ownership over us. That's what it is, Pinky. Dr. Ericana claims to have ownership over us. She claims to have a voice over us. advocating for us without even asking if that's what we desire. She just stood up and said, hey, I'm going to be their voice, whether they like it or not. This is the direction we're going to go. And this is how we're going to do it. Without anyone saying yay or nay. I said, hell no. In fact, I wrote a letter. To the Black Caucus and to a attorney general, complaining about Dr. Ericana, complaining about Pan-Africanism and how detrimental it was, and how I did not want any foreign person from Africa or anywhere to have any say on my identity, to have any say on what I call myself, what I deem myself, how am I supposed to conduct myself in America. I said no Pan-Africans, no religious, no Minister Farrakhan's, no Africans, no anybody, no Black Caucus, no Democrats, none of them. All of them have taken liberties from us by claiming to represent us. And they are able to pretty much just shut us down on having a voice. And they just step in front of us and take the mic. That's cold-blooded disregard and disrespect of us as a people, having our own agency and having our own mind. They're treating us as if we're kids or slaves still. And this is why I said Pan-Africanism will never work. Because it is there to colonize and to control and dictate to Black Americans what we're to be to Africa, and not the other way around. And that's the truth. Let me see. Now I have 2 kids in college, one in a PWI and the other HBCU, and it's not right. They're passed over for other kids. It's not right. That's exactly what I've noticed. And I want to still write a letter to Donald Trump. For those that are wondering, did I write that letter yet? I started writing it, but then when Charlie Kirk passed, and the temperament of the populace was so out of sorts, people were like looking to us to see why we are not crying and carrying on for Charlie Kirk. It was just kind of a weird scenario. I didn't know the man like that. I just knew of him rather, since he was unalived. So I didn't have much of an opinion to give. But a lot of people were coming around in our spaces demanding to see what our feelings were, and people were reacting, responding towards what people said. And a lot of people got fired or taken off of YouTube, and other things had happened. And I was like, oh my God, this is not the best time for me to be trying to write Trump, because his mind is on something else. But I still feel that we as a collective should one day, before he's out of office, run him down with all our letters and faxes and information about all these scams that these immigrants or migrants have been doing to make it harder for us to be able to do what we need to do, because of how they're getting away with certain things and crimes. And there are a lot of stories of people being busted. But also, like I say, Eric kind of adds to this culture of scamming. A lot of them are partakers of the scam culture of Africa. And they bring what they do in Africa or their government, and they bring that to the United States of America. And they look at us as fresh, new guinea pigs to be treated like such. All right, y'all, now you're saying what whites have been saying for 20 years. You said everything my elders fought for, we will receive. Yeah, I hope so, man. European countries are overflooded with Africans and Arabics. Yes, they are. Pinky says because they don't give a F about each other, but our people are known worldwide to fight for others and we need to stop. That's the exact thing that I was preaching. We cannot take out the fly out of our eye, that flew in our eye. And before we do that, worry about somebody else's eye. You got to worry about what's going on with you personally, your household, your neighborhood, your family, your community. First and foremost, just like every other group does. People tell us that if we pay attention to our own group, that we are Sambos, we are haters of Africa, because we should somehow spread our attention to everybody and everything, while they don't have to do it. They don't have to do what they're requiring for us to do. And that's what's so sickening about Pan-Africanism, and this is why I have called it out. You said, Pinky says, if Dr. Ericana does build a city, her family will be the royalty there. She's not never going to be building a city. Mark my words. I remember, I think she claimed it was going to take 30 years to build. Do you think she'll be around in 30 years, Pinky? She could be out of here in the next few years for all we know. And she was like, yeah, it's going to take a lot of years to build it, to give her that protection of not kind of asking her when it's going to start, how it's going to be, because she said, oh, it's going to take about 30 years. But when do you start? 2021, you declared you were going to start. It's going on 2026, so almost 5 years and nothing. That's kind of odd. You said exactly as tension over there. Pinky says, and she's right, I see comments all the time about that president, but none will go there and help. Exactly. Everybody wants that man to be known to be so awesome and righteous and all of that. But where are the Burkina Faso people like St. James and all these others that have fled? Why won't they go back and put their neck on the line to make sure that man stays alive? They won't do it because they don't believe in sacrifice. They believe in others being sacrificed for them. And they believe most Africans, not all, but most Africans that I have listened to, that I have observed, have said in so many words that they think that we ought to be sacrificed for them, for the betterment of them. Somehow that's supposed to be our goal and our aspirations to do. But that don't make sense, because you are going to be spat out as soon as you done all the work and you sacrifice yourself and maybe become unalive or homeless or whatever. It's all on you to lose, and then everything for the African to gain. Just like when you build houses, you get land, you build a house. So many people have lost their lives mysteriously after the houses were built. And guess who's living in those houses now? Not the so-called diaspora, not the so-called Black American. They're gone to see God, you would hope. Or they're just gone in the waiting chamber to be seen by God, either or. But the Africans are the ones that just pick up the pieces and they go live in those houses free and clear. And that's when I thought about how disrespectful these people really look at us as. Everybody remembers the two sisters of Ghana. I believe back in 2014 or 15, who had a land dispute, and they went to court, and it was determined that the land was their land, and what they built was what they built, and that they won fair and square, and they were elderly sisters. One that came from Detroit. I'm not sure where the other one came from. Maybe both came from Michigan or Detroit area. But they were murdered. They were unalived very horrifically, yards away from their home that they built. And I often thought about, when I told this story before, who is living in that house, enjoying the house. It's not nobody in their family. It's the Africans. And that's when I started putting two and two together. It's like the sacrifices that we give, like we have gave in times past for others, they're trying to reap the same way off of the sacrifices done in Africa. They want to keep it going. Sacrifice over here. You sacrificed in America. Sweat, blood, and tears. Why can't you do that over here for us? That's what they want us to do. And that just shows you that is not a brotherly, sisterly love or thought process. It's about them using and utilizing us and our foolishness to trust and be naive and assume that we're all the same and we all think and we're all on the same team for the same goal, when it's never been that way and it never will be. Let me see. You said they will go hard for her and other scammers like her, but look at us like we are weird for trying to tell them the truth. That's the part that kills it. That's why I'm saying this is full circle for me. If I never bring her up ever again, I've done my part. I've done my part. If I get wind of another scam that I just hear that just falls in my lap, I will talk about it. But I just think that it's time for the people that are very vocal and that are entertaining to draw the crowds. They now need to pick up, the baton and do their thing, because I've done my thing. I've definitely done my thing. All right. You said I seen a CNN news story about how Ghanaians are bots on social media trying to create fighting between blacks and whites in America. Oh yeah, that Tyreek showed that on one of his videos, and I've seen it before, but they have like offices set up, computers and everything, where these Ghanaians are in the offices there in Ghana, actually pretending to be Black Americans and making outlandish statements on Twitter, YouTube, wherever they go, to try to incite different thoughts and points of view that they claim that we're having, so that we can be scapegoated or accused of stuff based off of what they're saying and how they're moving. People are not playing fair when it comes to us. People don't care about how they affect us and how much harm that they place on us as a scapegoat. They figure it's better you than I. If I can move you off your square or give the appearance that you are thinking like this, or that you're capable of doing this, and that the world sees you in a light that's even more hateful, even more disgusted by us, then I'll do that to bring my group of Ghanaians or Nigerians or whoever else above them, the Black American. And that's why they are happy to do it. They're happy to be used like that so that we get a target on our back. That's why they do it. You said, if any Americans fall for the BS, too bad. Yeah, I'm not going to have no tears to give moving forward for none of this stuff no more. I have none to give, because the information's out there. I think that many more people are going to come out and speak out for Americana, and they're going to show their cards and their stupidity as far as being, what do you call it, under the spell of Americana. Like, you can't think for yourself, you can't see for yourself, you can't understand for yourself what is obviously going on. You have to allow her to sing song you to sleep and tell you whatever you want to hear so that you can get right back on that bandwagon of belief and reverence to a woman that is not deserving of being revered. You said 500 times many will equal millions. Exactly. That's exactly right. And she's like, what's $500? Yeah. Your favorite nurse, just take the money and run, but tell them it is what it is. I'm in the wrong career. Those folks are too gullible. Yeah, they are. And Pinky says that's all she's done for whole life. Does she think people are going to expect something different now? You talking about Americana? She reminds me of Umar Johnson. The only difference, no children involved. You talking about Americana? Because she got, she got the young youth out here, the younger Africans that are listening to her on these platforms when she's on Al Jazeera or these other outlets where she's speaking and, you know, giving speeches and whatnot. They swear under the sun that she is all that. Yes, she's a female version. Yeah. I'm waiting for them to join forces, Umar Johnson and her. Oh, I can't wait to see that. I'm going to eat her up. Yes, living in America in a mansion, eating well. Wow. Pinky Wells, look at how she's smiling like gotcha. Fat ass eating a lot. Yes, she has got them again. Dr. Americana has made millions scamming. Yeah, about 3 million plus so far and counting. You said, I miss seeing you on here too. Thank you for that. I really appreciate you. Other content creators steal from you. Oh yeah, Pinky. They don't want to give me credit. A lot of them are playing like they don't know nothing until they just heard through the grapevine recently. I'm like, I talked about it so much, Pinky, that people were telling me to please not talk about it for a while. You remember that, Pinky? I was talking about Americana so much. People was begging me to not talk about it for a little while. So I don't know how to explain how people cannot see my video and not know that I'm the person that broke the firing of her in 2019. I don't know. But it seems like I say it's all about a click and people want to play into, you know, I'm popular. I get more subscribers. I'm more relevant because of the clicks and views. So I cannot let a little old something that's not really known to get credit when I can just take the credit and pretend it was all on me. And I mean, that's an integrity issue that you would do that, because everybody that has done something in my mind or in front of me to where I can see where it came from, I give credit where credit is due. I always give credit, but people don't want to give me credit. They want to say the same bullshit that they said before. Crazy, liar, whatever. But now you speaking the same thing I said, literally word for word. You might be saying it better than I'm saying it, but you saying the same damn thing I said. And that's facts. I feel you for black guy. You know what? I'm glad you do feel me. You said even the chunky, light-skinned dude with the dress speak ill on us now. It's crazy. Shaking my head. Who is the chunky light skin? dude. Who you talking about? What's his name? Pinky says, yes, our people like to be entertained. That's why Tariq has that following. Shits and giggles. That's what BSIA always says. And I have to give a little bit of credit to Tariq Nasheed. He is a well-spoken guy. I mean, he really, really can speak well. My only issue with him is that people are trying to make it seem like if they can get Tariq out of the paint, or they can discredit him, or somehow tarnish him, that somehow sinks the whole ship of our lineage. And that's why I don't call myself FBA for that reason. Because I do not want one man to have control over our whole identity and lineage, because we are not one monolith of nothing. We should stand in our square and be proud to not be one thing, that we are a monolith, and we all are coming from the standpoint that, yes, we are Americans, we're non-immigrants, and we want to be designated from the immigrants because it's not fair that they have an identity that I can't share, but they want to share my identity when it's convenient, when it's political, or when they're trying to hide different things behind our name. We don't have that option to use other groups of people to be shielded behind when the rough gets going rough. But everybody else, oh, they like to say, oh, I'm African. I can use African American. I can use Black American. I can say now I'm FBA. I mean, it's like really ridiculous. I always thought that these foreigners had a lot of respect and pride about who they were. But when it comes to getting over, when it comes to scamming and potentially getting money or a position or status, all that pride and integrity of their identity and tribe goes out the window, and they'll be willing to become us and try to swap places with us. That's why this notion of trying to let Africans use African American is very detrimental and dangerous, because that name is tied up to reparations until we change it officially. We cannot let Africans and Caribbeans claim African American, because they are not. They're Caribbean American. They're Jamaican American. They're Nigerian American. They cannot come in and say, I'm now African American, and get tangled up in our reparations talk, because that is the term thus far that's being used for reparation talk, and it was done on purpose. And the only thing that I hope that we can do is to change that term to be more like what we're trying to do now. Indigenous American Black, FBA, something other, or freedmen, something other than African Americans, so that these people will stop playing dumb and acting confused on who they are. Oh, they didn't know it was the only box available to pick out. No, your box was the other. Other meant you fill in what you are. But they wanted to play dumb and act like, oh, that's too hard for me to figure out. I'm going to go ahead and mark down African American and confuse and conflate who I am and claim to be you part-time whenever I want, put it on like a jersey and take it off when I'm done with it. That has got to stop. That's not fair. That's a scam. That's a fraud. We have seen Kamala Harris lie, claiming to be African American. We have seen Obama lie, claiming to be African American. We have seen that Indian guy that's in New York trying to run for governor or mayor, whatever it is. He actually claimed on college applications that he was African American. So anybody and their mama can just make up and attach themselves to that term to have a come up while we can't. Because we are competing with our own name with other groups. And that's why we need to delineate, because it's not fair for them to be able to double dip like that. It's not fair for us to not have our pride about our own damn identity like everybody else does. We can't have no pride when everybody's sharing our fucking name. That's not prideful. That's why people are walking around pissed right now. Sharing it with immigrants. People that just literally got here 10, 20 years ago. They trying to use our fucking name and say we the same. The fuck is going on? So that is why the delineation movement was spurred to be in the first place. And I'm glad that there are a lot of voices. I know that of the culture is speaking to this topic very well. And he also has a channel called Afro Elite. I like how he speaks and what's been going on with what he's discovered. Also, I like Black Alpha Network. And Mouthy Megan is very strong. Again, they've been more consistent. Like I say, O'Shea is just starting to speak like he's speaking, but we have to wait and see how long that's going to last, because, you know, he might go back. We have to wait and see. I know that African diaspora, he got to denounce Pan-Africanism, but I don't think he ever will. And he is the one, in my mind, continuing this confusion with repping the African diaspora, knowing full well that we are trying to delineate from the so-called Africa diaspora. But because he makes so much money with that channel, with Pan-African talk, with tourism talk, and he's talking about FBA, he's living it up, making money from every different vantage point that he can have. And that's not a righteous, integrity-filled guy. Phil Scott, to me, is a Sambo. Literally. You can't play all sides. You got to pick a side. He's making us look like fools, and everybody thinks it's okay to rep Pan-Africanism and FBA, and you cannot be both. You cannot. In the middle of trying to solidify your identity separate from others, you can't turn around and talk about Pan-Africanism. That's obvious. And anyone that think that you can are slow and dumb. But let me continue. You said a couple of guys attacked a Geechee sister yesterday on his channel, and I had to let them know that's their accent. They're not African. Shaking my head. Really? Pinky says, I won't watch Tariq. I've seen a few of his shows years ago. 2020, before that, I've seen him about 15, 20 prior, talking bad about black women. Yeah, he's gone through many different stages. I really wasn't listening to him in the beginning when he was talking about women and pimping and macking and all that kind of talk. I just heard little clips of videos that I found of him. And I know he wrote a book about macking. And now, you know, this is a new thing for him. I don't know how serious it is for him, because I don't know if someone could come and offer him something and all of a sudden he wants to try to strike a deal. And all that so-called notion of not being a leader goes out the window once you get a set amount of money that you want. So I got to watch Tariq and see where he's going to go. All I know is I can't be on that bandwagon, because I'm consistent and I'm not going to change. And I need to be by myself, knowing what I know, and stay the course of not going back and forth. That's all I know. You said no for the AU attempting to get reparations on our behalf is a no. Yeah, and that's a tell sign that they're not in it for the right reason. For them to come out of the blue talking about getting reparations for us without our approval, our consent, and they're just running behind our backs, running and talking to other people about our shit, just shows you the level of disrespect and disregard that they have for us. And that's my point. You cannot build nothing or relate to somebody that is going to be disrespectful and dismissive out the gate about your shit. We're not doing it to nobody else, but everybody seems that any other group can do it to us. And until we have the right men that will not fold under no circumstance and will tell the truth and get these men of all backgrounds in check religiously and never change and never flinch and never bend and never break, never be tricked out of, our talks about ownership of lineage, we're going to have a problem. You said Phil Scott, same thing, talk bad about black women to get his shit started. Yeah, they all do it. Even O'Shea, they all have gone through a phase of talking about ratchet women, women that are not worthy of being with decent men. And then, of course, promoting tricking and men being pimps on women. I mean, a lot of the Manosphere men were on that trip, and O'Shea was about that for a long time. That's what made me change my mind about him. And then suddenly he switched to Pan-African talk, and I was like, wow, that was an easy transition or easy change from tricking to Pan-Africanism. And now he's saying he wants to be about the lineage. And right now he's telling a slew of truths, but how long will he hold up is the question. Will he officially denounce Pan-Africanism in its entirety and understand that we cannot think about Pan-Africanism whatsoever? We can't. You said Pinky Wells, it was denied a few weeks back. I wish I had the article linked to post. Okay. You said, I honestly think they will get it before we do. They are organized and working with the CBC and NAACP. Pinky, I feel the same way too, because our people that are able to speak and write and influence are not influencing us to go and do what we need to do to get the attention of these top officials regarding our identity and our belief in what we desire and want. Just think about Tariq Nasheed. He has over 200,000 subscribers on YouTube, and God knows how many he got on Twitter and TikTok. I mean, all he has to say, we need about 50,000 people writing to the president, to the vice president, to journey attorneys, to the NAACP and Black Caucus and whatever, and demand that they listen and talk to us about what it is we're trying to do moving forward, and that we're not settling for the Pan-African talk because that's not working out for Black Americans. That is a pipe dream made up by immigrants, a tool used to control our voice, but nobody that has influence will say the words Let's all get together and do this collectively. I don't have the influence for that. But there are others that do, and they don't want to do it. They want to just entertain and make their simple money and stay home. That's the issue right there. They're not dedicated for the cause like they claim they are. But they have all the influence, and I'm still waiting for them to influence, for them to tell others to do more than what they're doing, because a lot of people will run around like they're like a chicken with their head cut off. And they would work hard to do something if Tyreek would say something, if Phil Scott said something, if O'Shea Duke Jackson said something. But when are these men going to say something to tell us to do collectively to change this whole thing and flip it? That's what I'm waiting for. And I'll probably be waiting a very, very long time. You said, and the CBC is about to be defunct for taking money from a certain group of people. Lots are in the CBC now. It's crazy. I know it is. Pinky says, please go to BSIA channel. He shows documents, press releases, and the CBC is full of immigrants, some Latinos. Yeah, it's disgusting. It's despicable. It is very, very despicable. But that's what I mean. We should be writing and explaining, why is this? No other group has to put up with this. Every other group has their own tribe, all from their own clan, talking about their plight and their monies or grants, business, whatever, and nothing else is mixed in. There ain't no Black American on the board of the Nigerians conversation. They're not on the board of the Latinos conversation or any other. But everybody and their mama, including a Latino, can come to us and say, we represent you. That's all been by design to fail us, to keep us down and out without any recourse of getting our shit together. And they're keeping us bogged down on purpose while they're looking to make moves to climb over us and then run away with the prize. And until we get mad about that, we're going to just be looking stupid and silly. You said, what shocked me the most was seeing immigrants in videos saying that we as Black Americans were celebrating, shaking my damn head. I know I wasn't, and a lot of folks didn't even know who he was. Yeah, we weren't celebrating. I don't wish nothing on the dead. I thought some of the things that he said was kind of ironic when he said that, you know, if there are gun unalivings, sometimes it has to happen for the betterment of keeping the right of arms and to bear arms and all that kind of talk he was doing. It's not what I said, is what he said. And I thought it was just a little bit, you know, ironic that that's how it went. But no, you know, the tides are turning where a lot of people are so emotional right now. And with Trump doing the most, ain't no telling what is about to happen. It's kind of getting revved up and it's kind of scary right now. And that's why a lot of us are going to have to get our house in order, help our family out more and friends that you can. Maybe some people that's homeless out in the street if you have extra. But we have to be mindful that when things get cut off, like food stamps, there's going to be an uptick of crimes. And why not have, if you have extra, or if you were prepared, or if you've been preparing and you can help somebody extra in your family or your friend or your neighbor to help them out, you know, be the help in that scenario. If you can become a blessing But we're not even talking about that. We know Trump's talking about slamming down on the food stamps, cutting out this, cutting down that. All this woe is coming up with all this governmental shutdown. Not one of us is talking about helping one another out in the meanwhile and what you can do to help. Nobody's opening up their mouth. It's sad. You said, and you were right, because Trump was also one of his fans. Yeah. I mean, I also voted for Trump because of the immigration thing. And I knew that if Trump was not in office, that we were just not going to be anything anymore. We were going to be swarmed with illegals. Pinky says, I have 2 co-workers that don't talk to me anymore because I had told them CK was okay, and he needed to talk about his own people. Yeah, what's interesting, what I noticed, all the people that started coming over to the HBCU wanting to debate the black students and running around trying to figure out how to be in some kind of debate or conversation with black people when that happened. It's like, you have bigger fish to fry. You have white young men that are out here shooting your own in broad daylight with killing skills. Shouldn't you want to talk amongst yourself to figure out why the level of anger is coming up like that and why people will go out like that? If he's the guy that actually did it, because there's still questions lingering about whether or not that guy actually did that unaliving or not. I don't know. I wasn't there, but people say there's questions that different things happen that don't make sense. And I know Candace Owens is definitely questioning a lot of things. One of them said he was just telling us what the liberals were doing to us. I said they had more shit going on in their community. No need to worry about us. Exactly. We are the moral ones of the world. I see in America the whites are claiming they are, and immigrants come here claiming they are moral, and we are the degenerates. Oh, yes, they do, for real. Pinky says no one wants to sacrifice for their countries. That's why they flee. Yeah, they're looking for us to be those sacrificial lambs, like I said. They look at us and they lick their lips, and they're saying to themselves, you're going to do what I won't do. You said that's because they feel that we waste our opportunities when we barely even get an inch of what the United States gives them. Exactly. It's all hidden right in front of our faces. Pinky says, I remember, and man deleted them. Those Africans won't let us have anything over there, but don't bother the whites, Chinese, or Arabs. Oh, yeah. They don't say nothing about the Chinese, the Arabs, of the whites. They can do anything under the sun. They won't have large panels of anything discussing what they did in their country. But when you have the passport bros or anybody else that's an American especially, they got all the time to discuss what the hell is going on with you. And it's very interesting how we are always seen as problematic versus what is going on. For instance, there was actually an African from Zimbabwe. He was a student, I believe, over there in India, and he was being harassed, and he was forced to chant Ram, Ram. I want you to see this real quick. But how many Africans would you say is talking about it? This one that is doing this video, I guess she is considered African. Her name is Wangel Zeleman. I don't know if she's Ethiopian or what, but Look at this video real quick.
Why are you requesting me? I don't know what this is.
A 22-year-old Zimbabwean was beaten after some verbal dispute, was beaten by the security of the school and other accomplices, and he was left unconscious. He was rushed to the hospital. They tried, but sadly, Leroy lost his life. Justice needs to be served. This is not the first time this is happening. It has been happening, and if we remain silent, it will continue to happen.
Are African students safe in India? Is it safe as a parent to send your kids to India as an international student?
I wanted to fast forward and see if it had the actual taping of him being beat or not. Maybe they can't show it, or hold on, let me see if this is going to do it. Hold on, here it is. Okay, hold on.
Stay safe, guys.
As you heard, you can sense fear from the student. And after watching the viral video that just recently was released of a young man in India just minding his business, and this guy is just harassing him and following him and filming him.
Hey, Ram Ram, who are you? Ram Ram, who are you? Who are you? Ram Ram, what are you doing? Ram Ram, who are you? Who are you? Racism. I know racism to ठीक है. Ram Ram बोल help. Ram Ram, help. Say Ram Ram. This is bullying. Oh, bullying पालिंग है. उन्हें ना क्या ragging है. आधे तरह मुर्गा ही बना दिया है. You know what is मुर्गा? No. पहले Ram Ram बोल. Ram Ram सारी भाइयाँ में. Ram Ram greet कर greet. Ram Ram सारी भाइयाँ में. Why are you requesting me? I don't know what this is. ये पंडित रहा. Ram Ram बोल रहा है. ना उरे ने. हेल्प बोल रही है. Ram Ram बोल पीड़ते हैं. उरे ने. इस साइड देखे. पीड़ते हैं. Ram Ram बोल. जल्दी. एक्टिंग ना ले वे. हवाली रहा भाई. चलो हवा के साथ ना तो नहीं जेड़ दी. ये क्लास. ठीक से भाई. ये तो नहीं बकवास करे जाएगा. आज के बारे में बीमारी है. एक्टिंग तो है.
After watching this video and how they...
Anyways, it supposedly led to the guy beating on the guy and killing him, unaliving him. I guess they're not going to show him being beat, but that's what she's saying in the video. What ultimately happened was a mob of Indian men. I guess once it got going, they went ahead and mobbed him up, this Zimbabwean student. And this African lady 2 days ago talked about it, but a lot of other Africans won't bring it up because they're too busy talking about us all the time. Let me see. All right, you said do what? I never heard about this. That is horrible. See, that's why ES needs to get her butt back here ASAP. I don't know. I don't know what she's into, but I hope she'll be okay. I hope she'll be okay. Trust in that guy. Russians are paying for it. Yeah, I heard that the Russians are always involved with giving propaganda in our affairs. I did hear that. Pinky says everyone wants to use us to help them. If they can divide America by color lines, we might help others. Exactly. Yes, Ericana is the lifelong scammer. Yeah, she's not going nowhere. It's going to get worse. I'm going to play the rest of her video and then I'm going to conclude this. I just wanted to show you a little bit of other thoughts about what is going on in Africa and the perception of why people are clinging to Ericana and scammers like her overall. He said, it's mostly men, tubers. Are you serious? You were trying to help them. Shaking my damn head. I forgot his name. He heavily set with dreads, like said that FBA was part of the FBI. I don't know who that is. Pinky says, do you know that Tyreek and his followers are the worst now? Some of them are talking take back black. And I heard him clowning Ty Direct, the man who started the Take Black Back Black movement. Did he? To be honest, I knew that would happen. That's why I stopped saying it, because it's a negative connotation with it. Pinky says his followers are saying that we're the only black, and that is what Ty Direct was telling us 2 years ago. Pinky says BSIA keeps up with what us going been in this government. If it concerns us, OMB White House press releases. Your favorite nurse says a lot of them are intolerable. His followers just say anything at times. Is frustrating, for real. Pinky says a lot of people from India claim African American for college. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Everybody is able to claim African American. So that's basically bastardizing that term and making us not have a legitimate identity. That's why we are upset about it. Pinky says, yeah, if we get reparations, Tariq, Afro Elite, Black Alpha Network won't have platforms. You don't think? And oh yes, like them too, and they do work outside of the internet. They do. I like that part. Pinky says, true. Okay. Your favorite nurse says, yes, he's a grifter too. Pinky says, Phil Scott had a new video about us living in white neighborhoods. I wonder if he has his Mexican wife living in a black neighborhood. I doubt it very seriously. I doubt it. And what pisses me off is when you see some of his lives, he has a big African like picture behind him glowing. Like, dude, we're not on this Pan-African talk. I don't give a damn what you showcase in the back of your head. We don't care. You said most of our men are out for self. Yes, they are, Pinky. That is the problem. And it remains to be seen. Real leaders that's going to set aside their ego and their greed to do the right thing for our collective and stand with us and tell us and help us do the right thing for us. To be honest, I don't want our people to get reparations. I don't want them living around me. Oh, Lord. They might leave America altogether, Pinky, once they get reparations. They are talking about reparations. I don't hear much about a crime bill. Exactly. Facts, Pinky, because Phil gonna protect the Mexican community before his own. Probably. Every group has a caucus. Ours is filled with immigrants. Exactly. And that was done on purpose. I'm at the place where I don't care, just getting my relatives together. And y'all favorite nurse says we should go to an Asian community function and see, don't we get kicked out immediately with possibly the cops being called. You already know. It would happen. Exactly. I told folks to grow their own food. Time is of the essence. For real. Pinky says, help the family get prepared. I need more water. Me too. Babies and elders. Pinky says Afrikaners better learn how to fight or stay home, or Africans better learn how to fight or stay home. Yeah. Afro Think Tank is disgusting, y'all. He had the nerve to say on a video that anybody that's from the Caribbean or Africa, if you want to utilize the African American term, you can join forces and use that term if you desire, because we don't care. That bitch said that. Okay, I'm going to just play the little bit left of Ericana, which is going to be about 5 more minutes long, and then I'm going to conclude. I just want y'all to hear how ridiculous it got with her assuming that she basically is regulating whoever has an issue with her. And this is how she called us Sambos and working for the, CIA or other things like that.
The question is why? I've always known that among us we have some traitors planted to create wahala, like we call it in Africa, drama. Well, guess what? You guys are going to continue your drama, but we will continue to move on with a few. We understand that the building of the Africa we want is only going to be done by a handful of us. The majority of you are going to remain sambos. And you will continue to be used as...
We're not going to be your trick. We're not going to be your hoe. We're not going to be your fool. And you're mad about it. You can't use our word from back in the day. It does not apply to you. You weren't here. You're not one of us. We're not a Sambo. We're not under your authority. You're not our leader. You're not our God. Who the fuck are you? You are a scammer that needs to go talk to those continental Africans to get on board and trust your ass to build the African that they want. Leave us out of your bullshit. We're not the Sambo. We are the truth bearers. And we've told the truth on your ass and you are upset about it. Oh, fucking well.
Instruments of your own self-destruction, continue on that lane. But the few of us who get it, we will move on. You can continue with your lies. They are not going to change who I am. I know who I am. I know what I stand for. The people who've been with me since I left the AU, they are still with me because they know the truth. They know that there are lots of lies out there. They have worked with me and they know what I go through. For you to even have the opportunity to become a permanent resident of Burkina Faso. How dare you accuse people who work so hard to help you? Shame on you. And I'm sorry to say this, but shame on you. Because I know what these volunteers do. And I know what they go through. And you are spitting in their faces for working for you. On that note, I'm going
She works so hard collecting money. She works so hard lying about a citizenship. She works so hard to smooth over and finesse and lie and say that the residency would just be just good enough. But we're supposed to believe that she has good intention and not the money is what she was going and aiming for. She's such a liar, not even a good liar. She did not show no receipts on the proclamation of what Captain Torre said, supposedly. She did not show any Zoom calls of what was stated before to understand what the hell she said prior to everything. She just gets on here and says whatever comes to mind and is supposed to stick and work because she's told herself she is our master. She has literally told herself that she is our master and that we are to bow down to her. And it does not matter what she does and how she does it because she is our master. Let her tell it. That's how she's carrying herself. She's living in a plantation in Tennessee. She could care less about anybody struggling in America with everything going on with Trump. She's not going to make no suggestions about what to do about any of that. Because all she cares about is the lies of building something in Africa. And we're supposed to be down for that, even if it counters and takes away doing something for ourselves here in America. She could care less. And that is the sadness of what this woman is all about and why she's a detriment to us collectively, because a lot of people are going to fight tooth and nail for a lying scammer that's predatory towards us. And we're going to have to just nip everybody, cut everybody loose. We're going to have to just say, fuck all y'all. No, we're not paying you nothing. No, we're not going to Burkina Faso. No, we're not believing you for any other talk and conversation. We're going to tell everybody about what we know so that they're forewarned about anything coming out of ADDI moving forward, because you're not going to ever get a chance to do it again. And until we have that attitude and we act like a unit to do this in unison with one another, we're going to be sitting ducks yet again, just like Umar Johnson has gotten away with years of lying about a school opening, and yet he still collects money and travels all over the place and does what the hell he wants to do, but has nothing to show for. No fruit, no nothing. And that will be the same thing if you let this lady here, Ericana, get away with what she's been getting away with. So I hope with this revelation of, this circle of discernment, where I started in 2018, now it's 2025. Now all this information is flooding everywhere, where people can clearly see that she is the one that is at fault. And if people still want to hype her up, then again, you are a crash dummy. You are a fool that basically wants to be treated like a hoe. And that's just sad and all. But again, I'll be back probably next week. Next Sunday, I'll try to see if I could talk about something else. There are other things to talk about, but I just wanted to really set in stone about Ericana, and I hope that people would definitely share the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel. There's not a lot of people that's willing to just tell the truth. I do not work for no one. I am my own person with my own mind. I observed and I've learned and I've discerned, and that's it. That's all. They ain't nobody told me nothing. I was first to discover stuff. People now coming lately are people that more than likely heard what I said, but they didn't pay me no mind. So there it is there. So please like and share the video. Let me see if you said anything else, and then we'll move on. Yes. Hope to see you. Okay. They are going to move on. Bitch, move back to Africa. Exactly. That bitch needs to move to Africa. Afro lady, we don't need your help. Africans need you. They need your help. Exactly. I notice my only want to be in these chats if there's a crowd beefing. Yeah. So anyways, I'm used to people not supporting the truth, but I'm not here to be entertaining like that. I'm just here to give the information so that we know. So peace out, everybody. Please like, share, subscribe, and bless up.